This week on the program, get ready to eat the most offensive dinner of your life as we talk about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Gong noise. Chris Cabin.
And we hate movies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Hate Movies. Thank you for tuning in. As always, that's right. We are talking about a big one. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1984, directed once again by Steve Spielberg. And this one, it's a black guy on the fucking filmography, man.
Yeah. I mean, with some of these actors, it's a black face on the film.
Well, there's one dude in brown face for sure.
Right, yeah. The
big
fella.
security guard guy.
Pat Roach, yeah.
Is that the dude from Raiders?
Yes.
Too?
And it's just like, let's just put him
man.
in. We're having fun. Put him in a turban.
He was the turban guy with the sword, and then he was also the guy that gets punched into the fan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a traditional storytelling device. It's in the theatrical tradition. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to see it.
This movie's inspired by D.W. Griffith.
All the grades.
It's to be fair, because I know that I was seeing some people be like, I can't believe they're going to do. It's okay to like a movie. I grew up loving this movie, but I changed a bit. I still like it enough. Like this still,
Yeah.
I still have some nostalgia here, but it's and guess what? It's the third best Indiana Jones movie, and I'm gonna guess after Dial of Destiny comes out, it probably might still be the third best Indiana Jones
I
movie.
agree with everything you just said. Yes.
I'll say this just real quick, Steve. With you noticed someone saying, I can't believe they... Listen, folks, fucking believe it, all right? This is a movie talk show. We just talk... Like, it's been going on for 13 years. The name of the show means nothing. It's just a movie chat show. So guess what? You better start believing we're going to talk about a movie.
Believe the truth is out.
Good God.
Yeah.
Never talk about anything problematic, though. I mean,
Right. Oh my God, that makes me uncomfortable and gives me the wigglies, and I can't tweet properly.
Eric, the wigglies, it's an epidemic. Everybody is getting the wigglies.
Oh, there's so many wigglies on film Twitter.
Well, if you get that's what happens when you eat monkey brains. You get the wiggly.
That's right.
God.
It fucks up your own brain, dude. Makes you crazy.
Excuse me, they don't say explicitly that Paul Giamatti is an alcoholic in Sideways. So that movie is gotta go.
Oh, man.
This movie's kind of gotta go, huh? I mean, it's
I wish.
Like it's weird. Like the first 35 minutes are amazing.
I love it. I love the Shanghai opening.
It's great. And you know what? Why don't we fucking stay in Southeast Asia?
Yeah,
let's do a
totally.
little of that.
Well, no, because all the racism happens in India. You got to get there to do
Which
it.
is still Southeast
There's some racism in the
Little
beginning
bit.
as well. We're having a little bit of fun
Chris
there.
Cabin introduced himself with gong noise.
Yeah,
and
we're having a little racist fun in the beginning as well.
Sure.
Everybody.
I mean, that's inherently, and this is also a problem with James Bond as a character, is all these characters are, Indiana Jones, James Bond. It's from the lens of an imperial power inflicting its will upon other populations. I mean, Indiana Jones was constantly stealing shit to give to his friend's museum.
I mean, it is weird that, like, spoiler alert, at the end of it, the force that helps this, it's the British-led Indian forces that really come to save the day.
Literally the boys in blue, dude. Absolutely.
If you were curious about the politics of this film, yes. When the because like there's that dinner scene and the colonial guy is just like, and like the dude who plays Dalsim in Street Fighter, who also is absolutely in Gandhi and a great actor in his own right.
Yes,
it's like, oh yes, they like to look at us like we're a bunch of their children and we have to be taken care of. And this movie says, yes, they are. And they should and they need to.
What was I going to say about this movie related to...
That actor's name is Roshan Seth. Apologies.
The dude with the glasses.
Yes,
Very good.
Yeah. Lal, I think his last name is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we do start in Shanghai, 1935.
1935, because
Yes.
1936 is Raiders. This happens right before that.
Prequel, yes. The first prequel.
Can I tell you that Spielberg, he was hot. It was E.T., you know what I mean? He was coming off.
He was hot. Have you seen those photos of him directing? In his
Oh,
early
man.
career?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Woo,
dude.
baby.
Those shorts.
You are calling action and cut with the shortest of shorts and the tankiest of tank
Sort of a
tops.
longish hair, the beard, those aviator sunglasses.
He's got those Coca-Cola shorts, and baby, I want to take a sip.
Then he went out and made out with a non-Jewish woman somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Sammy Fableman style.
We should get him going back to that kind of director outfit.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Sure,
like
yeah.
you see him on the set now, he just looks like an old guy directing things.
Yeah, he's like, well, you want to see his old balls hanging out of his short shorts?
Yes,
Is that what we're
I do.
getting at?
Dude, if
I
I
do.
woke up one day and the headline was like Spielberg hangs brain on set of new movie, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. Dude still got it.
Better brain than that's in this movie.
Not since
Wouldn't it
Philip
be
Seymour
cool?
Hoffman in Twister
They present a bunch
has
of
a man's balls. It's been so obvious.
chilled scrotum for the table.
Oh yeah.
But Lucas was like, oh, Steven, if you're going to do this Indiana Jones picture, this great idea that I have, it's meant to be a trilogy, so you need to direct the trilogy. And he's like, sure. And he's like, and I totally have 3 great story ideas. And then like, it's a quote. Spielberg is like, but it turns out George didn't have 3 story ideas. The first time that fucker did that shit.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I wrote that 10 years ago. It's in my closet. You just can't see it right now, man.
Hey, Steve, sorry to change the story around, the one that I definitely had going, but I got to base this one around my fucking bitch ex-wife, man. She's pulling my heart out of my chest, just like they're doing here.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk, like on Wikipedia and stuff about this film, that he was going through that divorce with Marsha Lucas, and that's why he was angry and mean-spirited.
Of course.
And it was his idea for child slavery, for black magic, and this cult.
She's crazy. That was my copy of Bringing It All Back Home. This is some bullshit. I bought that. It was an original pressing.
And apparently he explained the idea to Lawrence Kasdan, who then said he wouldn't be writing it because it sounds too problematic, even in 1984.
Smart man.
And they couldn't film scenes in India because the Indian government read the script and was like, what the fuck?
Could we just scale back on the eyeball soup? Could we
The
maybe
great part
just
of that
could we maybe get back on that?
With the government response, the way it's quoted, at least on Wikipedia, they were like, what? This is racist? What?
What are you talking about? It's fun. It's
Exactly.
fun.
And the thing that sucks is like with a few minor changes, you could make this movie way less problematic, including doing the original idea for the scene where you get out all the information about like the Thuggee cult and everything.
Yeah.
In like some tiger hunt scene that they were going to have. And they replaced it with this fucking abysmal dinner scene that we'll talk about in greater length.
After Lucas got rid of Cass and he got the creative team that would later go on to make Howard the Duck to write this
Hot writing
screenplay.
team. Hot writing team.
Hot writing team.
Hot.
A spousal writing team.
Oh,
too.
nice.
So hot in the bedroom as well. Assuming.
Oh, you can tell that by just looking at the script, these two fuck. These two totally fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think it was their idea maybe for the tiger hunt, and then they replaced it with this dinner instead because Steven Spielberg didn't want to film on location too long.
Now, here's the idea. We're going to have this beautiful dinner scene, and at the end of the table, I know it sounds big, a duck with tits. How about that? At the end of it, we're dealing with the forces of evil eating chilled monkey brains. Why not have a duck with tits?
Yeah, that's a duck surprise instead of a snake surprise. You got a duck breast with another breast on top of
Dude,
it.
the snake surprise. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are getting ahead of ourselves. It's fine. We open in Shanghai.
We
Chris
do,
Cabin.
in Shanghai, and this is much like a similar problematic movie that he made, 1941. This feels a lot like him just venting his Hollywood love, like just being like, here's a big musical number. I'm probably never going to do a musical until I'm like in my 70s or whatever.
Or never.
And then he gets to do it, and it's pretty splashy.
It's fucking
It's a great Busby
It's
Berkeley
good.
musical number. It's pretty fucking awesome.
And I mean, this and there's another line is the best of Kate Capshaw in this movie. She's doing it. She's dancing. She's singing in Mandarin. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool thing that she does, and it's a very like kind of striking thing to hear this song that everybody knows in Mandarin. Like, oh wow, like you know what I mean, and like this white actress doing it. It's a cool like not mind fuck, but you know what I mean. Like
what?
Hold on,
she ain't supposed to be speaking like that.
Excuse me. It was kind of like when I watched that John Cena apology video. I was like, wait, what?
No, but I mean, what the fuck?
Could I get a refund? Oh, wait, the movie's going to get racist later? Okay, I'll get back to my
Well,
seat.
that's on your tickets, and we promise this movie will get very racist. No, but I mean, like, that's like, sort of like, that's a good melting pot thing, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of cool.
But it is very strange to have this movie, do this clearly fantastical sequence such as it is. Because, like, she goes through the little like doorway set thing, and that's when it opens up into this big black box soundstage where all these other dancers who are not participating in the staged performance in the nightclub are there, and you're just like, all right. I mean, I guess it is cool, and I think all the choreography is great and the costuming is really great, but like, these movies don't have weird dream fantasy sequences in them. So it's just to have this movie start with that is weird.
It's also a great song. We can try to offend all the races all over the globe. Anything goes.
Hey, anything does go in this movie, man. They are setting you up for the thesis of this film, which is indeed anything goes in
Christ
1980s
almighty.
Hollywood filmmaking.
Well, they did want to do like one of the ideas was like an African shaman thing, and they're like, oh, that's too offensive.
Of course,
and like, so's you know what I mean? Like, maybe both ideas are bad. You know what I mean? Like,
like
I don't know, man. A fucking African shaman thing, I think, is way worse than just a white lady singing in a language.
No, I'm
that's
talking
not
about
hers.
later in the film.
I thought you were talking about the prologue.
No.
Oh, all right. Because I was like, dude, what the fuck?
No,
The Kate and Caboodle.
I like that she sings. I mean, because the idea of the character, which is she is a
supposedly world famous vocalist.
Sure.
she washed out of somewhere.
Basically,
we don't lie on our resumes ever.
Let's be honest. That Willie Scott it's the end of Tar.
Yes, it's
she's now doing it in Shanghai in 1935.
but she's like a mobster's mall essentially.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But when you
Right.
take that out of the mob, it gets really grating really quickly.
Yeah.
Like if she's just there being like, oh, well, let's get the diamonds or what, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of the character.
Well, I mean, the problem is that you don't see her with the guy much.
No,
like,
yes.
If the head Chinese gangster,
Lao She.
Lachey is supposed to be like the guy she's with, they're not even like getting warm with each other. Like,
yeah, but you kind
true.
of get it because like she comes to the table like, hey, Lau, who you talking to? Oh, Indiana Jones. Aren't you a famous archaeologist? I love that everyone in this movie, from like the big city clubs in Shanghai to the tiny little, Indian palaces way out wherever, everybody knows that this dude is a world famous archaeologist.
There's a mention of the press in Honduras labeling him as a grave robber at some point in this film. So maybe there's
They're
a
probably
lot of
right.
that
Here's
negative press.
If an archaeologist was this hot, it would be world famous. It would just
That's true,
absolutely breaking news.
That's
Hot
true.
archaeologist travels to Honduras.
No one's talking about Abner Ravenwood's abs or anything like that.
Abner's abs, though, dude. How about that?
Ooh, that's a fucking 8-minute video.
Indy kind of spoils his inside agent immediately because on the way into the club, they look at each other and give each other a big, we're in it together. Hey, how's it going, Wink? I'm in it with you.
you brought the gun, right? Because I don't have one. You have one, right?
I still just love this sequence. I love when he's holding the tray with the gun.
Yes.
I mean, Indiana Jones versus the Chinese Mafia would have been some,
And the lazy Susan and the
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
around
great.
of
Love that.
Nurhachi going around there.
I guess this is very Bond, actually.
Oh, it's super
Yeah.
Bond.
Oh yeah.
This dude, this poor another dude who's had like storied adventures with Indiana Jones, this guy Wu Han, who's like playing the waiter here, and he's just fucking murdered.
Wu gone.
Wu gone is right. Wu long gone after this, man. He's just like,
That's okay. I
dying.
kidnapped a child as well. So I gotta back
I
up.
got your replacement.
Yeah, I got him lined up. He's already waiting in the car.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, buddy.
training him since day one.
But like he's got all these lines about like, oh, many adventures over the years, Indy. Now I get to take pick the greatest one first, blah, 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 which is Dev.
I go first, Indy. Yeah, you enjoy that, buddy.
Yep. No, I'll say hi to Shorty down in the car for you.
How he gets shot is amazing. Like, just like, like he reveal of the gun, then someone else pops a champagne bottle, and then they shoot him because they can get away. It's beautifully made.
And the way that they cut that too, I really liked. It's like you pop. You're seeing all the bottles at all the tables, and it's like very disorienting. And then it's like pop from the handgun.
Yeah.
Indiana,
really fucking good.
Indiana, please take my body and use it as a shield for yourself as you move throughout the rest of this restaurant.
If he just did a MacGruber with his body, that would have been amazing.
Oh yeah, the last great honor, dude. Having famed archaeologist Indiana Jones use you as a human shield.
But don't be drinking this poison, dude. Like, you know what? If it comes over on a lazy Susan after this contentious thing, you sent yourself to try to kill you last night.
Well, that's why it has to be a prequel, right? Is because this is him young and still like wet behind the ears.
Yeah,
like
sure.
We haven't met the consummate like professional adventurer from 1936 yet. He had to learn all this shit. Like, when a guy is clearly trying to kill you and short you on your shit, maybe don't drink something he gives you.
But so all these famed adventures were teased about with Wuhan, like that never came across once.
No, he kept on fucking up, I think. I think it's just been luck up until now.
That's why it's not this, because like that show Young Indiana Jones Chronicles or whatever it's called, like he's still just being great, but it would be awesome if he was just like terrible at being an adventurer for that whole show, and like somewhere towards the back part of the series, it's like, hey, I think I'm finally getting the hang of this.
Every episode's him getting his ass kicked. That'd be so awesome.
Oh yeah. Do you think those whip skills just come from nowhere?
And then it's like, that's what, I mean, he kept trying, but then the Nazis kept beating him up back then. That's how they got into power.
It's just him dropping all these idols and breaking them.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and Marcus Brody's like furious. It's like, we're not going to pay for your travel stipend.
Sorry, Abner, I dropped another one.
Could we change my name from Butterfinger Jones to Indiana Jones by any chance? Is that possible?
So they just sort of get into this argument. The dude is looking for Nurhaci, the ashes of this person who is like the first emperor of one of the various Chinese dynasties. And it's a weird, I think this is just a clout thing. Like, I got this dude's ashes. There doesn't appear to be any like magical powers.
Oh no, this is a conversation piece for your party. You know what I mean? Oh, that's you see that over there?
But it's like, it's fucking badass.
Yes.
You Lao She, this crime lord of Shanghai, have this dude's ashes. Like, that's a pretty baller thing.
And or maybe he's gonna eat them for power, possibly.
Too much cocaine. He just stirs it in, snorts the
like
ashes.
Keith Richards' father.
Yeah, do it up,
man. It is funny how this series constantly confirms that every magical power is real.
Yep.
Like the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, and here with the by the way, what was it? Last Crusade is our Patreon episode this
That's
month.
right.
Yes, if you want to hear us talk all about the Holy Grail, I know a lot about it.
And the greatest of all
stuff over
the
there.
greatest of all powers, Eric, white boy magic.
Yes,
because Indiana
but
Jones
here,
just survives all this shit.
It's like Christ is definitely confirmed a thing in these movies, and now it's also this thuggy cult is definitely a thing.
So I guess it's like a Neil Gaiman-esque reality where all religions are real, and like even fucking Zeus is hanging around somewhere.
Even conspiracy theories are real. The aliens are real. Where he was involved in Roswell and Crystal Skull.
True,
that's right.
And then, of course, I imagine that goes all the way to election integrity.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also a problem, and it's real.
At this point, you definitely have to believe, at the very least, that if something bad happens to you, a greater being wanted it to happen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That you can no longer deny that. There's enough people up there working and doing shit that one of them wanted your
and
shit
I take
fucked up.
comfort in that, like, if I get shit on or stabbed, it's like, I don't know, Jesus, Kali, whoever.
I had nothing to do with it. I'm powerless in the situation. Zeus just wanted my shit fucked.
That's right. The thing about them aliens and stupid Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
It's a movie that confirms both like the modern day like Roswell shit, but also ancient aliens.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, maybe we talked about this on the episode we did 1,000 years ago on that movie, but like, I kind of think you just got to pick one. It's either ancient aliens or Roswell X-Files aliens.
Yeah.
Not both.
And it feels like Indiana Jones would lean ancient.
But that's the thing. I just Aliens and Indiana Jones. I just no, it's not my thing. I don't think it's good.
It's too much. And also, like, you know what, dude? Let's get some Nazis in here. What the fuck are we doing? I know that was George's thing, or I think George was like, "Oh, I don't want to do Nazis again, man." And it's like, yeah, I know, dude, but you got to do Nazis again.
You can have them be occupying force in another country.
Sure,
you don't have to be in Germany necessarily.
Oh, yeah, you could be in Greece or something.
Yeah, of course.
That's what's really funny about making this movie a like prequel to Raiders is like I feel like they're thinking was like, well, the only way we could make an Indiana Jones movie without Nazis in it is to do something before like 36, like the big year,
and then in Crystal Skull they do the Soviets, which I think is a good enough idea.
The Soviets is a natural extension.
And it's sadly just none of them worked. Only the Nazis worked.
Well, I think we're going back to Nazis with Dial, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, of course.
Hey, man, if it ain't broke.
And they're back again. I see them on Twitter all the time.
That's true.
If it ain't broke, make sure you break it, because something had to break it.
I don't know. We haven't seen Dial of Destiny.
No, but I'm sure maybe it's fine.
But now time travel's real, I imagine, in that movie. So.
Hey, you get to have a lot of things that are magic turn out real. It's fun. So someone gets to have their balloon popping fetish really taken for a stroll here, because a bunch of balloons just fill out on the dance floor while it's not a shootout, really. I mean,
we got some guns going on, but it's also just a big fist fight in a nightclub. It's the kind of fist fight that's very funny, where it's like a bunch of people not directly affiliated with the original argument immediately get in the fight anyway, as if they were like just waiting for it, like sitting in the club, like certainly hope someone punches someone in the face so I can get in on it.
That's what entertainment was back then. That was like going to the gym as you get into a bar fight. And everyone was excited for that. But also it's just like there's sort of a shootout happening and people are like, send out the next dancers on top of that.
Oh, that's so dumb.
So it's just chaotic.
Well, I mean, and also, I mean, I if I was at this restaurant would be like, anybody else see that guy get impaled by a flaming skewer?
That dude, thank you for bringing that up, Steve, because I think that is the
best death I've ever seen in a movie.
It's incredible, but it is the earliest indicator of this ain't Yo Mama's Indiana Jones. Because this is such a violent, like, Indy picks up, it's a sword skewer that's got a bunch of like, flaming chickens on it or whatever. And he raises this thing above his head and is like, brah! And hucks it through this dude's heart. And you're like, holy shit, that's violent.
It's got, I mean, like the accuracy, the velocity to get that in past the rib cage.
You think, probably not the first time he's tried it then is what they're telling us. Because, the accuracy is bone chill.
Oh, he's practicing at home. I don't know how you don't.
And practice on the dog.
All right, Indiana. Now it's time for flaming skewers.
This is the 8th dog we've buried this year. You better get better at this.
That's really morbid. He's named after the dog he murdered.
I told you to hit the apple on top of the dog. You keep on hitting the dog.
I told you, Dad, I consumed his soul when I killed him. So in a way, I am Indiana.
You need to be prepared when you dance with the Chinese.
So the whole thing is like Indy's trying to get, well, initially he wants this diamond that was supposed to be his big payment. And this is like Willie Scott right away acting like a Boo the monkey, much like Ray Winstone in Crystal Skull, but it's just like, oh my God, Lau, look at that big diamond.
She's got a wolf mouth drooling, licking the lips.
She even does, the Nurhachi is in a little urn, an awesome little urn that goes on the lid. That Nurhachi's a real small guy. And I'm like, lady, you are 32 years old. You know what's going on here, right? You know what's going on.
And I'm sure Kate Capshaw is a completely nice person.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the most grating, obnoxious, and terrible movie characters.
I think it's all on the page. I really think it's all on the page.
It's nothing to do with her as an actress either. It's just this is an awfully written and directed performance. I think part of it too is Spielberg was he was so fucking dick blind. He was just so horny for Kate Capshaw that he was like, I made direct movie for you now.
Hey, Kate, come here. Yeah, no, you're doing great. You're doing so good. God, you look so fucking fantastic. Anyway, I got one note. Dumber. I was going to talk about maybe more annoying too, but dumber for sure.
Louder. Yeah, louder. Let's do louder.
I understand the concept of you got like a showgirl fish out of water in this kind of adventure.
Sure.
Would be freaking out. I think maybe someone else could have pulled it off better. Maybe someone could have directed her better, because you're right. His fucking dick was steering the wheel. There was time for love, Dr. Jones.
It turned out, yes.
There's one line of hers that I actually really like, and I think that it is the only one that has any humanity on it. It has any character.
Is it, can I guess it?
Yeah. No, it's not eek.
I've said eek before.
There's a lot of eek.
Or ew. It's not ew either.
Oh, what about the...
Not that either.
Near the bugs.
It's just one thing, like talking about magic stones. She's like, magic rocks. You know, my grandfather was a magician. He always had like, you know, a bunch of crap in his pockets.
Rabbit in his pocket and a doves up his sleeves or something.
And he made a lot of little kids happy, and he died a poor man. I've seen this all before, Dr. Jones. There's no such thing as magic. And I'm like, oh, wow, a fucking character. Like, holy shit, a character just walked in.
You're totally right, Steve. And man, yeah.
Her tone of voice is different too. Like it's a character for literally 2.5 seconds.
It sticks out like such a sore thumb because it's the only time that happens. Everything else is eeks, acts, and ews.
Because if she was like a world weary showgirl that's just like magic fucking rock, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like without the swearing.
But that's what's interesting, right? Because if she is indeed this world weary performer who's been around the globe doing these shitty shows and clubs or whatever, and she's seen it all, she should be less affected by all the bugs and the whatevers than
Brassy
she is.
would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, give me a big fucking ball buster kind of lady.
I feel like that's maybe sort of what they were going for, like a big brassy dame, like
But she doesn't have any like self-reliance. There's nothing like she doesn't believe in herself or anything, and she's just constantly complaining.
She doesn't do anything.
No,
like towards the end of the movie, I mean, maybe she hits some guy over the head.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like, oh, she's kidnapped babe.
But you compare it to Karen Allen, like
that's
fucking destroying everyone. It's amazing.
I think that's the other thing, is that they probably did not want to do exactly like Karen Allen.
Fair.
So this is exact opposite.
Yes, on the whiteboard. All right. So Marion Raven was a good character. I don't know, Stephen. What if we did a bad character instead?
Ooh, hey, George, that's a great idea.
I mean, he was going through that divorce. Maybe it's just like, you know who's really loud? You know who eeks around the house? Marsha.
I met this kid, Ke Huy Quan. Maybe we just put all the character into a young man who's helping,
which would be
Indiana.
Great. Like, get rid of her character. Focus on the two of them.
Yes,
I would have preferred.
They're great together. They have excellent chemistry. Key is amazing as this little kid playing
Batman
this
and Robin.
character.
We're doing Batman and Robin. We're having fun with it.
Yep, it would be
just
totally
as
fun.
weird. Also, by the way.
Don't
worry about it.
The way in which, it's kind of a little weird.
I mean, actually, I think that's closer than you mean it to be, because it's a thing where it's like Indy took him under his wing after his parents were killed in a Japanese bombing
by Two-Face.
And then they started to have
at the circus.
They started to have sex after that. Solve crime.
No.
That's the Batman theory. This is the Batman man. Steven Sadek, expert Batman man.
I never said those words. I
What'd
put
you
it in
mean
your
by
mind.
that?
No.
What do you mean, Senator? Senator, what did you mean by that?
I want to see him go back because Ke Huy Quan's never in these movies again. He's not in, obviously, Raiders. Is it a thing where he brings him back to like America, and Marcus Burns like, is that your son? Like, what's like? I think the immigration's like, what's happening here? What's the situation?
1935, immigration put him down. Probably,
yeah.
Do you have any documentation of any sort explaining how this?
He does have a line where he says something like, "I'm gonna take." Oh, it's when he's talking about how much he loves the cute little baby elephant.
Yes.
And he's like, "The baby elephant's my new best friend. I'm going to take him back to America with me," which kind of sounds like he's been there before.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, who knows? And you know what? We never need to know the history of Short Round, and the dude never needs to play that character again.
That's true.
And I'm glad he finally silenced all those sad people on the internet.
Because what would that even be?
Terrible. It would be terrible,
Yeah.
is what it would be.
He would have to wear the hat again. And he's like, dude, I just want an Oscar. I'm not putting the hat on. You know what I mean? Like,
nope, I am not putting this old ass New York baseball Giants hat on. Yes.
But yeah, and this is a great sequence where the antidote's on the floor, the the diamonds on the floor, and then all this ice goes. And
that's a really great turn.
Yes.
I like that's a good moment for her to be like, oh no, because she's like almost got the diamond in her hands and all the cubes come. It's pretty cool.
Right.
So they eventually get out of this by jumping out a window
after cutting a gong down, which came in handy. But by the way, when he's falling out the window, you get to see it's Club Obi-Wan.
And
you know what? And this is the other thing too. Gunplay, which is what I need in all my Indiana Jones movies, and it's up top, but it's not in the rest of the film. I love this fucking Tommy gun, dude.
Yeah. Totally. There are some guns used in the mines, but not enough that I would constitute gunplay.
We can praise the Nazis about is they use guns quite frequently.
Well, yeah, and in the mines, it's the villains using the guns for the most part. You don't even get heroic gunplay.
How fucking funny would it be if you just see like little Ke Huy Quan with a machine gun, like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
You sons of bitches! Fuck you, literal slave driver!
And he gets thrown against the wall and gets killed
Well,
by the velocity.
Yeah, I guess I got some of the kids too. I got a little overzealous there. I just couldn't help myself.
That just means you became an American today.
Dude, I wonder about his line right here because they drop into the car and it's so fucking funny because it's like, wait, where's the driver of this car? And little short round like peers over and Willie Scott, rightfully here, is shocked again. It's a child driving a car. And he says, we got to get out of here. Hold on to your potatoes. I was like, is that a grab your balls
It's
thing?
definitely a hold on to your nuts scenario.
Oh, God damn, that's awesome.
Which suggests that Indiana Jones has weird nuts.
Just big old potato balls?
Yeah,
that's actually
just accidentally coming down out of the shower one day. He just happened to get a flash.
So yeah, like when he was a young adventurer, he was Butterfinger Jones. When he was in college, he was Potato Balls Jones. And he's like, how about Indiana Jones? Is that cool?
Like, yeah, they call him Potato Balls Jones because he refuses to jerk off. He's like, I'll only empty him into a lady.
He tried to be a surfer first, but California Jones died in L.A.
So they get to the airport. Here is the weirdest cameo of all time. Dan Aykroyd
Oh, God.
as Art Weber, noted Englishman here.
Yeah, Dan, we can't get a close-up on you. You got a little white under the little white stuff underneath the nostrils there, brother.
Hey, it's 1985. I'm just gonna get. I'm in a movie. Don't worry about it.
It is so weird,
I'm
man.
kicked out of my fucking mind over here.
And if this dude went on the adventure, that would be kind of cool. And then you'd be able to, proudly say Dan Aykroyd in an Indiana Jones movie.
He could be killed early on, like Alfred Molina or something.
Yeah. He's like, he's crooked.
Sure.
I'm telling you right now, if the Dan Aykroyd character goes beyond this, Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls gets bumped up a spot really quickly because too much of this guy. I can't do it.
If ever there was a movie to bring back Art Weber, it would be Crystal Skull, dude. Yeah, you ever think about putting some vodka in there, Indy?
But Chris, they could have been in this movie, and he instead of going out the plane in a boat, you just ride his body.
That's just true.
you get down. You hang on to Dan Aykroyd. You hit the fucking mountainside. Bam! You hear every bone shatter. And then you ride his like jalopy corpse down into the river.
I think your wrists are getting bent back on that one.
Yeah,
anyway.
Isn't that what Abraham Simpson does in that mountain climbing episode or whatever? He rides the person.
The murder horn or something.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Actually, the question though. Is Art Weber actually crooked? Because the whole gag at the end of the scene is they get in this plane and he's like, yeah, it's going to be filled with poultry. Sorry, it's the last I could do in short notice. And Indy has the great line like, nice try, Lao She. And he closes the door and the gag is Lao She Airlines.
Very funny joke. I really like it. But I think he might be that's all that's available.
Yeah, he's incompetent or what, doesn't know.
So it wasn't like Lao She's like, listen, if a handsome explorer and a little tiny boy come to get a plane from you, you've got to put him on one of mine with the crooked pilots.
And you do know it's called China White. We can get you the good stuff.
Because these dudes know seemingly about the whole you've got to dump the fuel over India and jump out.
Just don't take off. Like when he's like, nice try, Lao She. Oh, we're not going anywhere? Oh, okay. I'm being murdered.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get him in time and they just radio. I just assume they radioed these pilots.
That could be. You kind of need that, though, because it is sort of weird.
I mean, it's really cool to get that emperor's body and you're going to show it around your coffee table or whatever.
For sure.
But then also you're dumping a plane now.
Yeah.
You're just killing this plane.
Getting pretty expensive.
But he probably recovered that diamond, right? They didn't get it, did they?
No, Indy doesn't get the diamond.
Yeah,
He's like, all right, we're all going to sit here and observe this pile of ice. And we're going to wait till it all melts, and whatever's left, that's the diamond.
One of them's not going to melt. Let's all keep an eye out for the one that doesn't melt. Oh, my foot's on fire.
I just feel like, no, one waiter was just like, oh, man, that guy was my best friend. You know, he got murdered today. So, hello. Yeah. Little tip.
Yeah, maybe it's like
nice.
Wuhan's fucking friend was just like, man, my friend was assassinated thanks to that dastardly Indiana. Oh,
I'm going to go to a pawn shop and get a sweet $500 for this.
So we see.
Here's a question. Sorry.
Oh, sure.
Because it goes to Willie Scott, which is a big problem with the movie. Why does she go with him here? It makes no.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a gun to her anymore. Like he
doesn't have a fork to her tit.
Right,
by
he was
the
good.
way.
He was gonna fork her.
He was gonna fork her.
Yeah.
In the car, there's some fun gag where the antidote's in her dress, and he's going in there. No
I'm
time
not
for
that kind of girl.
I
no time for
realized,
love, Dr. Jones.
I just realized why she went with him.
What's that?
It's a 1984 fucking Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking guy.
Yeah,
Are you
That's
kidding
true.
me?
That's true. No shade to Lao Shay, but
No.
he ain't holding the candle to Harrison
Oh,
Ford.
please give me a break. It's a soft kidnapping, I think. It's the best
Yes.
way to put it.
Because anyone would let Harrison Ford fuck them or fuck him,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
She
I
feels
think
You're gonna
okay
fucking
about
take
it.
a plane filled with pigeons or whatever the fuck.
I've flown a puddle hopper in Florida. I know what it's like. It's fine.
I think the thinking here is probably like, she sort of escapes with India, like helps him sort of get out of there, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, well, what is she going to do? Stay in Shanghai and get murdered by Lao
Yeah.
Shay? Like, because he's probably
the heat's
over
on.
it.
Yeah.
Well, because
She
he even
knows too
says
much.
like,
Take the girl, I'll find another. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. So I think that's like, she can't stick around that club anymore anyway. So
That's a good point.
we get just the teeniest, weeniest bit of map stuff here,
Yes.
which kind of sucks,
Not
honestly.
nearly enough.
You want to
Yeah.
trot that fucking globe, baby?
That's the thing, dude. And I was realizing that's why I think on our Last Crusade episode, I say, like, while I love both Last Crusade and Raiders, Last Crusade is better for me, like just by this smidgiest little bit. And when I rewatched Raiders, I realized part of that is because Last Crusade is the one where they go the most different places.
Yeah.
Like when they finally, get to where they're going in Raiders, it kind of just stays there for the rest of the movie. And this is even worse. It's just two locations.
I would love it if when they go on that like hike to go to Pankot Palace, it's literally you get the map again and goes. It's like it's a red dot that just is. It's like it's like 1/3 of an inch. Like, ding.
It would be great because this is like, Shanghai to Chungking, and then from Chungking to, and then it stops.
The map stuff would have helped. Apparently, in the original edit, it was too fast. George Lucas thought it moved too fast, so Spielberg went back and added more matte paintings that weren't there originally. Which I always love a matte painting, and there are some nice ones in this, but they're kind of brief, and it would a little map stuff would have gone a long way, even if it was just a hiking map. Yeah.
That would be kind of fun, and it's just like it's way closer to the ground too. I like that idea.
But so he gets in Indiana Jones garb. He was in a sexy tuxedo. Now he's dressed like Indiana Jones.
Ooh, actually, I'm sorry, but you just reminded me. That's another knock against this movie. The reveal of Harrison Ford in this movie totally sucks.
What?
Listen,
I'm trying.
the other three movies, Crystal Skull included, when you see him for the first time, it's a cool shot.
Yeah.
In this movie, he enters the movie just walking down the stairs and the camera's behind him.
Smoke show, dude.
But there's no like presentation of like, and here's Indiana Jones. The
I
other
think
three
we
movies have that.
We shot our load with the Willie Scott opening. probably.
I see what you mean, but still, I mean, it still has to be Crystal Skulls just because it's a handsomer Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I don't want any knock of Crystal Skulls level. He's looking great. But like, this is the prime stuff.
No,
This
I'm
is
not.
just
It's not a knock. It's the way
immediately
that
I'm
they
just like,
present the handsomeness.
God's
though.
light right on
It's
me.
presented. It's presented as an afterthought, right?
God's
Because you're right.
hot boner
The first
light.
you see is Willie Scott. so much like directing with your dick in this movie that she's literally standing in front of the title.
Yes.
Which is a real like, wow.
You better be marrying her.
Is that another Bond thing? Like we're doing music and ladies?
Yeah,
in the
this whole sequence, opening sequence is so Bond.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, we're in the plane and taking a nap after like round 7 of 87 of the kvetching that these two have with each other. It's just fucking exhausting, man.
Burned fingers, cracked nails, pilots that are gone. Pilots that are out the fucking window.
I love these dudes, these pilots like sneaking out laughing as everybody's sleeping and they're sneaking out of the plane.
I also love a 1930s parachute just sagging on your ass. It's just fantastic. It is like you look like fucking Mickey Mouse. Like I know that's how they used to do it, and that's why I know that Mickey Mouse did that way as well. Sure. However, an adult man with a fucking parachute on his ass looks like Mickey Mouse about to fucking skydive.
Do you think more people parachuted in that setup because of the war and whatnot versus now when you just have people like doing it for fun?
Absolutely.
For sure. So most people have parachuted Mickey Mouse style.
Well, not most people, but
the people who have.
Oh, you mean in the history of the world? We're talking.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think probably recreational has to have beaten it by this point, right?
Beaten it. Okay,
but you're saying there's more recreational skydivers than people that served in the military and had parachute training?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
But then the thing is now, the modern military probably updated it to be more like the X Games than than Mickey Mouse.
Oh, they're not wearing them on their ass anymore. It doesn't look like a diaper.
All right, recruit, you'd get your skydiving suit on, and you also get your snowboard, because, yes, you will be snowboarding out of this plane.
Cadet, get over here, cadet. Where in God's green acres are your Oakley sunglasses, boy?
We have orders from General Sean White. Captain, catch some wave.
Captain, I told you I can't jump without my Baja Blast. I need my Mountain Dew.
You will jump, boy, and it will be fucking gnarly. Do you hear me?
I'll make it as gnarly as I can, sir, for the glory of the country.
I swear to God, Private, you are the least gnarly and tubular cadet I have ever seen.
I was trying to be a little more radical than tubular there.
I want to see you grind on the side of Everest. I want you to do it now.
Sir, yes, sir.
Don't like Code Red, boy. My God, what is wrong with you? Oh, yeah. X Games military. That's something.
Easy. It's a good one.
And this just in from the Skydiving News Network. They've discontinued the Mickey Mouse parachute.
No longer will it be hanging around your ankles as you skydive.
We've gotten rid of the dumpy ass, says a parachute maker.
No longer will us skydivers have to look like we're wearing adult diapers just to have fun. So these dudes jump out with their little ass hanging parachutes. Mm-hmm. Shorty wakes up, or Willie wakes up, and it's like, no pilots. And I love that Indiana Jones is sleeping through a fucking door on a plane getting open. That's pretty impressive.
Well, great Harrison Ford reaction here. Like, do you know how to fly a plane? And he's like, grabs like, no, do you? It's just it's so good.
He notices that the fuel gauge is empty, so it's what are we gonna do? Get in this big raft and jump out the plane with this. And this is another ridiculous thing where, like, I see how fast they're going down this hill in this thing. And I'm a kid that did a lot of snow tubing in my day. You know what? Just roll out of it. Roll out of it into the snow. You'll be totally fine.
True.
Then you're not going to be falling off mountains.
This gives the fridge from Crystal Skull a little something to say in terms of like living through this.
It kind of does.
I think it's more realistic than the fridge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Also in Crystal Skull, they try to top this with Karen Allen's got like the aqua car.
Oh, right.
And then it's like John Hurt's like, something 3 times, blue, blah, blue, blah. Because all he does is blue, blah through most of that movie. And they realize what the 3 he's talking about is this car is going to go over 3 waterfalls, and
Yes.
all of them will. And I'm like, good Lord.
You know, I just rewatched that, and man, it's still really bad.
sucks.
I
Fucking
I
sucks.
was hoping for it to be a little more.
I foresee when this new one comes out, there's going to be a rash of online
Oh,
people.
of course, the Willies, the people that got the Willies. They're like, oh, every bad movie's amazing.
It's going to be like, because this is the first one that's not Spielberg, and we love Spielberg, and rightfully so. It's going to be like, well, at least that's Spielberg, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what this movie is going to be, good, bad, or otherwise, but Crystal Skull will never be a good movie because it's not a good movie now, and it's not a good movie tomorrow.
Like, listen, Steven Spielberg, while, you know, the record is pretty decent, he's made some fucking stinkers, and that's one of them. And also to be like, oh, well, it's the first one without Spielberg, so of course it's terrible. Like, don't undercut James Mangold. He's a very good director. Like, of course, he's not as prolific and big as Spielberg, but he's a good director.
I just can't wait to see one of those accounts like show 4 pictures from the terminal and be like, oh my God, the cinematography at work in the terminal.
Dude, there's people that now will tell you that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's already happened.
It's donkey shit.
You know what?
gone.
It's okay to like a movie if you got that taste. That's fine.
Oh, that'd be, you know, good idea for the terminal. It's just you keep going to the map and it's just one red dot on LaGuardia Airport. You just keep going back.
It goes out a little, comes back.
But for some reason, when they go to that map, it just keeps cutting with the John Williams Indiana Jones music too, though.
We
I
could
mean-
zoom in on the red dot and it becomes a ketchup packet.
Catch a packet. Ba, ba, ba.
I would say this boat died. I mean, you have about the same. It makes more sense that Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson survived that header off the 60-foot fucking tower in the island.
Wow.
It's about similar height, I would say.
Totally.
And that's just like, man, yeah. So, but yeah, they're immortals. So they ski down as immortals.
But we're told by Willie Scott that she hates water, hates being wet.
Whoa.
Sorry. Sorry. And hates Indiana
Not
Jones.
true.
No, it's incorrect. It's, I hate the water. I hate being wet, and I hate you. Did you ever hear that line? It's a weird either ADR or I hate you.
It is very guttural.
Hey, Steven, hi, Kate, hi. I love you too. It's so great that we're working like this. Every time I say I hate being wet, could you stop saying not true? Could you just for me?
The sound guy told me they're picking it up on the microphone.
So they were probably slamming ass during production.
I don't know that because
Unclear,
he says that he like met her
Yeah,
doing this
He
movie.
met her fucking you know what.
I don't know. I don't know
Give a
when
good
I don't know when it
handshake.
was they started slamming, as you put it.
You're putting so much in you know what's like it's just the box the size of a fucking
I'm
mountain.
not saying necessarily that area, but the slamming ass is what a nice little colloquialism I
Sure.
use for a multitude of
I
sexual
see.
We're
activities,
making the
yeah.
love.
So you
Yes,
know,
it's making. I'm going to start saying making love. We've been too dirty on this show.
Oh, is that true?
It's gotten to be a problem. I've
Okay.
noticed some people have been turned off by the vulgarity.
That's interesting.
It ends right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
wait.
it
rest
is
of
why
the
I try
show.
to cut out a lot of the vulgarity in post.
And then
by
I
the
don't
way.
listen to the show, and I just feel like it's there the whole time.
Yeah, which
so I
is
keep
fine.
doing it. Yeah.
So they're like, oh, you know, she says like, where are we? And he just goes, India. And she's like, well, how do you know that? And here's this old timer, an Indian fella here. This is the Indian actor Dr. Nanayakkara, who was actually a pretty prolific Indian actor in like the 40s all the way up through the 70s. And then he was in Temple of Doom. But this dude is like, you know, sort of pointing them like, oh, you know, right this way to the village. And this is where we get what turns out to be like the surprise mission of this movie. Indiana Jones being asked to recover the sacred stone from this village that has been stolen by the high society folks in the palace. And as such, they believe that, you know, crops are dying, waters in rivers are drying up. And oh, by the way, they stole all the children from the village. Way to bury the lead, dude.
They bury that lead so much that it's like, yeah, and then all the, you know, the crops failed, the animals died, and eventually one night there was a fire in the field, and the men went out there to put out the fire. And then, yeah, you know, they noticed the children were gone.
They came back, and the children are all gone. And this is all to be blamed on the new Maharaja at Pankot Palace.
Yes.
Who we get to meet as a child. It's a
Little
big
bit.
reveal.
But we're also getting this exposition while, you know, Billy and Willie.
I did that. I'm sorry.
Billy.
Oh, this food's terrible, Allison.
Billy Campbell from 90210 Melrose Place.
I forgot the words to this. Anything goes.
I hate being wet. First of all, Alvin.
That's why I never shower, right, Allison? Allison hates my dirty balls.
Wow, well, not you the lube tonight, Alvin.
And I will absolutely make out with a 1985 Harrison Ford. That's for fucking sure. Holy shit.
Hey,
that guy?
you only live once, dude.
But no, this is when she is being served food and she won't eat it. And it's kind of great. I love this Harrison Ford's like, you're embarrassing me and insulting them. This is more than they eat in a week. And she's like, oh, you can have it. It's like,
the give back of the food is worse than the ew towards the food.
Because it's like, like this part, at least it's like, we're talking about, the poverty we're talking about. And like that the food is totally probably edible and fine. Like Harrison Ford is eating it and he's enjoying it. She's just being like kind of
Shorty's chowing down.
Yeah, she's just being a baby about it.
I have to give it a pass because the food does not look like something the Crypt Keeper is eating. That alone, I'm like, it's fine. It's probably fine.
It looks like food.
It looks like beans and rice or something.
Yeah, it's probably like lentils with some sort of like stew there. And the funny thing is, I was genuinely shocked. I was thinking about this. I'm always shocked because I don't watch this movie a lot. So, it's usually the time apart I forget stuff about it. I always am shocked that she doesn't go like, what? No silverware? You just assume that's going to happen. The dude sort of is explaining here. They've taken Shivalanga, which is this sacred stone that protects the village. There's a really cool moment here. I like this it's kind of funny because Spielberg says he feels like there wasn't a lot of him in the movie, but there's a reference to another Spielberg movie right here because Indy is listening to this guy and he sort of like tenses his fingers and like pensively looks at him. And Shorty does the same thing. He mirrors him just like the son does to Roy Scheider and Charles, which I thought was kind of neat.
This part of the movie, the fortune and glory aspect of this Indiana Jones character always is puzzling to me. It doesn't fit the character, at all.
This one right here, in this movie, because it's pro bono, right?
Yeah, but he wants to make money off this. This specifically, it's not about going to a museum. It's like fortune and glory. That's what because when this little kid, so like they do that. It's nighttime. We find out the kids are missing. Oh my god, so scary.
Is this when this poor kid like Rajit or whatever?
Yes.
Does this kid die?
You don't know, but he comes in and
he's in rough shape.
Yes. He faints. He gives Indiana Jones this like scroll, and he looks at it. He's like, "Holy shit! This is amazing! Ah man, I'm gonna make so much fucking. Thank you, little dead kid. Awesome.
Now he's the wolf drooling.
Yes, exactly.
I almost need more of it in a way because the way that he's just like, it's just I got the village back together. It just doesn't seem like the character we were presented in Raiders.
The young boy died. Well, oh God, I feel so. This is partly my responsibility. Short round, you dig a grave for the young man. You know what? It's the least we can do.
Also, check his pockets for artifacts. This scroll is worth a lot. He might have had some other stuff in there.
And the scroll depicts Cali or whatever, and then we get into this whole the thuggy cult, which apparently did exist in history, but it was apparently more so. It was sort of like the Hell's Angels. It sounds like it's like here's some scary fucking shit we could put on as our emblem.
Right.
And apparently they were, some of them were followers of Cali, some of them were Muslim. So there were multiple types of people, and they were mostly just highwaymen and bandits. It doesn't sound like it was as necessarily as much black magic and ritual sacrifice. It sounds like the British painted them that way as a way to clear it out.
And this movie full on just like puts in like fucking Hawaiian shit. They put in like,
what, really?
That's what I read. Like there's like Hawaiian stuff, there's European stuff, and like in the iconography and like how they're presented and what they're doing and like the sacrifices and all that stuff.
Super othering. Yes, of it.
I'm sure that's like I'm sure there is something like this, but it did strike me as weird that there's a fucking voodoo doll in this.
Yeah, exactly. The voodoo doll.
That's okay. Yeah, that's kind of odd.
Like, wait,
it's just everything that is not holy and white.
Exactly. Yeah, India, Haiti, same difference. They're right next to each other.
All a bunch of eyeball eaters. You know this. We all know this.
So yeah, I do like. There's actually a really nice shot. Speaking of the nice matte paintings in the movie, there's this cool shot where Indy's sort of standing on a hill, sort of outside the village, and Shorty comes up to talk to him. And what you're seeing, like, of the village is a nice matte, and this is where he's like, "Hey, you know that rock he's talking about? Think it might be one of the Sankara stones." And this is. Where it's like, well, what's that, Dr. Jones? And fortune and glory, kid. And it cuts to the next day. We're going out to Pankot Palace. We are being guided by some dudes who have some elephants for them to ride on. And oh my God, guys, can you even believe it? Willie Scott just can't get on this elephant. She just can't get on that elephant.
It's something else to scream about.
And uncles across the nation are slamming their knees.
Oh, sure.
Until it's red and painful. Just like, see what happened to
Oh, it's even better. She's trying to put perfume on an elephant. I can't even believe it.
Dude, and I love this elephant's like, you know what? Fuck you. And knocks her off.
It'd be great if it just keeled over and died immediately. Like she puts perfume on.
Here's all these chemicals. It's 1935. Who the fuck knows what's in it?
I'll tell you what, we're going to see it again. Of course, we're seeing it again. But I'm getting a T-shirt that says "The Elephant for President" when we go and see it for the second time.
And that's how Reagan won re-election.
That's right. She has some obnoxious line too about like, I can't believe I'm going to this palace. I gotta call my agent. Like, dude, this is another bad one. She looks back to like the people in this village and is like, is there a phone anywhere? God, you're so ignorant. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Frustrating how ignorant you are.
And again, like she's a woman that's presumably from like wherever, Montana, wherever the fuck.
Where she says, I'm going back to Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. My grandfather, Missouri. To Shanghai. She's a world traveler. Like, fucking read the room, lady.
Steve, be fair. Just because she's done all that does not mean she has encountered mud. That does not necessarily equal there.
Old Mizzou has some mud. I think I'd rather be in India, but yeah.
Better food for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just kvetching about like, I've gone to all the best restaurants riding in limos and now I'm on a smell-o-fin. It's just fucking horrible. She's got some line where she's like, oh, look at those big birds. And I love Indiana right here. He's like, those aren't big birds, sweetheart. They're giant vampire bats. It's like, ooh, Indiana Jones versus Dracula.
I mean, I would watch it. How about that's a movie? Go to Transylvania.
Exactly. Get Dracula's ashes. Who knows what's going to happen?
Everything is real, then vampires are real.
Please, Eric, in this India, vampires are in India, werewolves are in India. There's monsters in the water everywhere. Swamp Thing also in India.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing is India's got it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, all monsters that you've got can be fed and shown in India.
The thesis of this film, anything goes.
I wish Muller, I mean, you might as well do it because you're not taking anything from history or reality. Molaram should just ride a giant bat. That'd be kind of cool.
Ooh, sure, why not, dude?
Yeah. That's what my one thought was like, if you are really going to like 1941, I at least give it pass because it is so cartoonish. And like if you push
year
this,
or the movie?
The movie.
The year was pretty brutal.
The year was pretty brutal. I will say that.
Oh, you know what? 1941, depending upon who you ask, hilarious.
I'm not putting Steven Spielberg on 1941 the year. I don't think he had anything to do with it, really.
I don't even know that he was born yet.
Probably not.
But that is a bad movie.
It is also bad. But
it has its moments.
It has its moments, but outside of those moments, it's virtually unwatchable.
I just like this one. Like I feel like if it was like bloodier, if it was really crazy and zany, maybe it matches. Like if everything is up to 11. Maybe I understand it, like old cartoons that nobody watches anymore that have pretty bad imagery, but are cool to watch.
Because I guess that's what the dinner scene is supposed to be. This big cartoonish set piece, like that's a big joke, but it doesn't
But
the rest
you're
of
making these people a joke.
well, yes, you are making the people a joke, and the rest of the movie is so sincere
Right.
that it doesn't
Yeah,
make
you're
any
right.
sense. Because I think even
It's not even it's not even just a joke. It functions as terror as well. It's like a horror scene.
A lot of it. I mean, that's even, there was the other Spielberg quote where he was like, the movie sort of out-poltered Poltergeist, like in its like intense presentation of imagery. You know, it is, a lot of it is very horrific. I mean, even the Chilled Monkey Brains, like the sounds that they put there, you know, like whatever's
like
on the soundtrack, it's supposed to make you feel scared that you're
And
looking
you know
at
what?
this.
I mean, compliments to what Ben Burt, who did the sound on Star Wars and
really?
this. I think actually for the tunnel scene with the mine cars, he actually filmed roller coasters at Disneyland and stuff. Did a lot of Foley
that's
work.
pretty cool.
And it's very effective, but it's not good. That scene is not good.
well,
We out poltergeist. We also out racisted it. we were trying to for years, and finally we got there.
we even out racist Poltergeist 2, if you could believe it.
Oh yeah, that's an achievement.
But Roshan Seth, who plays the guy we're about to meet, the prime minister,
Chatter lol.
who talked about the banquet scene after the controversy, is like, Stephen intended it as a joke. The joke being that Indians were so smart that they knew all Westerners think that Indians eat cockroaches, so they served them what they expected. The joke was too subtle for that film. Incorrect.
It's totally incorrect because you have a lot of fucking
There's
Indian
a dude
dudes
who's
at
eating
this
it. He's
table.
like, delicious.
Yeah.
The dude's like, oh, when they have the part where it's like you got to eat the scarab like it's a fucking steamed artichoke, and
Yes.
he like pulls the part off and slurps it down, and he's like, yum yum yum. What? You're not hungry? Like
The other
that
big-
dude's loving it. He's not making fun of her.
No, and the other big fat guy next to him was like, oh, this is the best part. Like,
that dude's putting 2 eels in his mouth at the same time, like some sort of double suck video.
No. It didn't suck. It was a joke that I knew about. Don't you understand?
That's always when someone says something shitty and they get called out on, or they do something shitty, they get called out on the fucking most pathetic thing. I was just joking. No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
I mean, I think this movie is a joke, but the joke is like, let's take it to. This is what nobody knows what Indian people eat. Well, they eat snakes and bugs and fucking.
Well, all right. So let me correct that. Maybe you thought you were joking,
Yes.
but there's nary a fucking joke to be
And
found.
maybe
man.
the idea initially was like, okay, we're going to go to the jungle primeval and it's going to be crazy, this, that, and the other thing. But it's like, but you're setting it in a real place
Yes.
with real people, with real customs, with real food, which exists.
Yes, most of the food would be probably vegetarian anyway.
And it would probably be fucking great.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It would
Yeah.
be great. Don't even worry
Especially at
about that.
this palace, of course.
Of course. So we do get to Pancop Palace, and here's Chatter Lal, and this is the funny. He's like, oh, you clearly don't look like you're supposed to be here, and he's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, Indiana Jones, and he's just like, oh, the world's preeminent, archaeologist. I was like, yeah, all right, Chatter Lal gets fucking Time Life magazine or whatever.
He says something where it's like, oh, where in the world I don't know where in the world you three would look like you belong, which is kind of funny.
Which
That's
is
what it
which is
is, yeah.
good, yeah.
We also meet Captain Blumpkin or Blumbert, excuse me.
Blumberg.
And as Steve pointed out, this is the dude that played Grady in The Shining.
Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Love that. Well, you want more of that guy in this movie.
He will correct all of the people.
Yes. I mean, I would love him more in this movie. He's in this dinner scene briefly. He like flicks some snake babies away from him and stuff. And then he's talking to Indiana Jones about the history of the Thuggee cult.
Yes.
And it's like, oh yeah, this is all old wives' tales, et cetera, et cetera. And again, like, this is like, and the colonials are right. It's just so fucking crazy that this guy is the voice of reason because he's the white guy.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of nuts. You know what would be great is if, this dude, whatever, Major Blumpkin, he has his dinner scene, and then like later on when they're like farting around and all of the subterranean shit in this movie, you think you're watching Chud for a few minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much time we spend in the basement and the sewers and caves and whatever. But it would be great if this dude met the same fate as Alfred Molina in Raiders, where it's like
Yes.
all of a sudden Indy turns a corner and there's this dude's dead puppet body
Yeah,
for
I would
some
love it.
reason.
That'd be
Because
beautiful.
what this is all set up, once we get to Pancop Palace, the way a lot of this plays out, this might sound a little weird, but it's the best example I can come up with off the top of my head, is House of the Devil, where it's like someone goes into a place and like everything's pretty normal,
Yeah.
but something seems kind of off.
One thing leads to another.
Exactly, dude. They're also listening to The Fix in 1935.
I
But
would
like,
love that.
you know, that kind of like something's up
Yes.
in this house. And like, you could so play that better if like we spent more time in the actual palace and it was like
That's a good point.
weird.
Remember,
Here's your weird Indiana Jones haunted house shit
Lucas wanted a haunted castle. And
for Crusade. Yeah.
I would prefer that, honestly, to this.
Make
Yeah.
that the Temple of Doom, the Castle of Doom. What the hell?
I do think that the temple itself it's a morass. It just sort of slows the movie down. Like
It does.
after the bug scene, it's just like dark cavern after dark cavern after dark cavern.
Yeah, you just keep going deeper into the earth. He's gonna be fighting mole people.
Oh, dude, definitely.
I
Look
wish.
out, Willie! It's the mole man. I will not give you back your amulet.
Dig, Willie. We've got to dig our way out.
Oh, look at this. It's Indiana Jones, the world's most preeminent archaeologist.
If it
Oh,
isn't
you get Vogue down here. Interesting.
Yes, it was a very interesting, if divisive interview you gave.
it's weird that Vogue had a centerfold that month.
Yeah, so they could photograph all of my whip, if you know what I mean.
I don't know why they complain about Speedos. Feel pretty good to me. I gotta tell you.
So we got this thing, of course. Willie Scott, she's looking for a man. And
She's looking for a reason to be in this movie because now it's like, oh, what's her new motivation in this scene?
Money.
Dude,
Exactly.
she even
Money,
does
money, money.
because she asked this dude Lal, like, so what does the Maharaja's wife think about all this? And he's like, oh, the Maharaja is yet to choose a wife. And she's like, well, say. All of a sudden he turns into fucking Fran Drescher from The Nanny.
Well, this is also just to get them titties out because the rest of this movie, them titties are out.
They are out and open for business.
Not fully, folks.
no,
There's
I mean, we're not
no,
seeing
yeah,
any nip
yeah.
slippage or anything.
Just
but I mean,
saying, don't bother checking Mr.
I mean-
Skin.
for most of Raiders, Karen Allen's wearing like a button-up shirt, or you know, there's the one part where she's got like the dress on, but even that's like up to the neck.
No.
This
Yeah.
is a dipped outfit
Yes.
here, but it's great because when it's like, now may I present His Royal Highness the Maharaja, and like this little boy walks out, and she's like, oh damn it.
Well, no, it's just another figurehead leader. Oh,
Well, I could be convinced. You know. Let's
Oh,
see.
definitely.
Let's see.
What are the ages of consent here, Andy?
I mean, we don't have to consummate immediately, right? We can wait them out.
well, Willie, the age of consent in the United States in 1935 is 3, so it's 5.
God. Yeah, Indy sort of gets into a contentious conversation
Yes.
with Lal here about whether or not the Thuggee cult is still around. It's like, oh no, that they haven't been around for a century. And he's like, well, these dudes in the village told us this whole thing about ancient stone being stolen and blah blah blah. And this is where he gets into like, you know, oh, Dr. Jones, well, you know, stories, you know, whatever he says. But it's like, this is where he's like, didn't a newspaper in Honduras call you a grave robber? And then the other one, which I love, is he's like, and didn't someone in Madagascar threaten to cut off your dick? Well, it's like,
Yes.
to cut off your hands. It's like, wasn't my hand.
Yeah.
It wasn't my hand. It was my fucking, it was my mistake. That's what it was.
His penis.
My greatest
Johnson?
weapon.
Listen, the thing is, my penis was too wide, you see, and that was caused a bit of a problem.
Well, you see,
wide guy, classic wide guy.
You see, Dr. Jones, we have much more to worry about here in Pancake House besides ghosts and goblins.
But yeah, the monkey brains are happening at the other
This is
end of
the
the
dessert,
table.
dude. Chilled monkey
This-
brains.
It is just, it's too much.
I-
Honestly, you want to do some big pulpy trash, gross out. We're reading a comic book from 1925. You know, you have a snake surprise or
Yeah.
something. Don't do 5 snake
Well, that's the
surprises.
thing.
Yes.
It's like
Yep.
all the courses have to be equally horrific.
Eyeball stew is a bit. I honestly,
Right.
that
They were-
one.
They were asking for soup. Hey, Mulligatawny would love some.
Dude,
Honestly-
heaven forbid we get a bowl of mulligatawny in this movie.
I might have eaten around those eyeballs, but yeah. Then the eyeballs, it's just like,
well, you know, the eyeballs were gross, but the broth was fine.
it just the eyeballs actually give the flavor. You see, you're not supposed to eat them.
These are human eyeballs, right? No, 'cause I would feel bad if these were pig eyeballs.
It's like bay leaves. You just got to work around them. You're not supposed to eat it. It is weird, and it's only in the service of the quote entertainment here. Is she asks like, "Do you have something a little more low key, like a soup?" And when the dude delivers the soup, she opens it up, and at first, It's just the broth, like, soup. And then one by one, these eyeballs pop up, and I was like, "That's not how that would work."
No,
unless you're bringing it to the boil right at the table. But that's not,
table side eyeball stew prepared.
And while they're looking at their soup and about to faint, everybody else is secretly eating the real food. Because this is all joke food. They're not doing it. So please stop complaining about me.
Joking.
It's just too. It's the worst part of the movie.
Hey, Steven, really last night I went to this Indian restaurant, and I mean, like, I didn't eat any of the food, but I was like, what is that, a bunch of snakes? But then my bitch wife was like, no, it's delicious chicken korma. And I'm like, no, it's a bunch of snakes.
And then I was like, we're getting divorced, you fucking snake. You're a snake. How about that? And I ain't going to eat you no more.
Enjoy your eyeball stew or whatever.
This menu makes no sense. Vindaloo, that's a kind of snake, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's potatoes in the sauce. No, it's eyeballs in the sauce. We all know this.
Yeah, Vindaloo, like some sort of Sith warlord.
Oh, goddamn. You know there's going to be a Darth Vindaloo coming up.
Oh, Darth Korma, Darth Vindaloo.
I'm getting hungry. So, yes, it's the few minutes after the horrendous dinner scene. We're like getting ready to retire for the night. Indy has a tray of fruit. Like, here you go, you fucking moron. Have an apple and whatever. And then it's like this really quick, like, we might be fucking at Pankot Palace.
But Indy, the apple's full of bugs.
It's an Indian apple. It's got to be full of bugs.
And even the fruit is full of bugs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The grapes have a bunch of teeth in them for some reason. I don't know. It's India. It's all crazy here.
God, it's awful.
But no, I mean, like, this is the only movie he doesn't fuck in this movie.
He does not.
The dick remains dry the entire time.
Right?
It's pathetic because he keeps on. This is a scene where he's just like, I just want you to know I fuck a lot.
Yes.
Okay? Listen to me right now. I fuck a lot.
Well, he's about to fuck her, and then he's like, just, we'll see how good you do, lady. I'm going to give you a grade. And then she kicks him out. And this is the thing where she's like, you're going to be, you know what? They are both incredibly hot. So it's like, you're going to be back in 5 minutes. It's like, all right, I'm going to set my clock. And then Indy retires to his quarters. Like, no, you're going to come to me in 5 minutes. And he fully expects her to come to his chamber.
I know
and
where
fuck.
this is going.
And you know who's sleeping but 3 feet away? Short Round is in that room.
Dude, he is the worst college roommate of all time, man. All right, yeah, listen, Willie, you can come to my room. I'm going to ball your brains out, all right? But listen, my roommate's in there sleeping, and he's a child.
He's
I'm a little child. So we got to be real quieter than if he was of age.
But
you know what I mean?
If he does see it, it counts as a biology credit, and I'm kind of homeschooling him.
No, I'm trying. The radio won't get any louder. I don't know how I think we're fucked on this one.
This scene's ridiculous, but I do like the payoff of, okay, so there's an assassin that's hiding in this room that tries to kill him. Good whip action, good hanging this guy from the ceiling fan. And I do like him walking into her room and just like as if she doesn't exist.
Yes.
I think that's a good comedic moment between the two of them.
She's got a great little line here though, where he goes before all that, he goes, oh, do you always sleep in your jewels? And she goes, my jewels and nothing else. And I was like, that's good imagery. I like that. That's totally great. I do like the little detail here too. When he goes back into his room, you see a quick shot of Shorty like sleeping on a couch. He's sleeping exactly like Indy does with the hat over his eyes.
Hey, keep that hat on, Shorty.
Yeah, you know what? Pull it down over your ears if you know what I mean. Willie, this is the one time you can't scream.
That's why I let him sleep with the hat on, you see. That way I know he can't see nothing.
Now we got cotton swabs. We're going to put this in your ear here, buddy. You're not going to be hearing nothing.
So yeah, he is looking through a room, and I love he discovers this like statue with rockin' tits and puts his hand, and it's a really good. She's like, I'm right here. Like she grabs her chest. It's pretty funny, and he pushes the wall through, and this begins our subterranean adventure with Indiana Jones.
Which I mean, I love this. I like the start of the movie. I don't like the palace. This is an improvement over the palace
because this is like
the bug
stuff sucks. No, never mind the bug stuff. afterwards. Once we get to child slavery, I sit up in my seat a little more.
No, I get snoozy during child slavery,
Really?
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like it. There's a lot I don't like about this movie, but when we start actually fighting these guys,
Sure, yeah.
and running around underground, I think it's a lot more compelling
That stuff's
than
cool.
the bugs or the dinner.
Well, the bugs just remind me of like snakes on the floor.
Yes, that's your-
you know,
right.
that's it does feel
grand
very
tradition.
It
Indiana
just
Jones.
feels like a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just
a lot.
slightly too much. Yeah.
Because him and Shorty go through, and they have again him and Ke Huy Quan have great chemistry, and they're like,
Yeah.
I love them arguing. It's like you just lean against the wall. You told me to lean against the wall. I leaned against the wall, like that whole thing.
This is your fault. You told me to do it. It's so good.
When they're doing the card game, that's
the card game. We talked about the card game. It was so great.
Oh right, yeah. When they camp, they're playing poker and they're both cheating or something, and they're just the argument. It's fucking great.
Meanwhile, Willie's screaming through that entire scene.
Yep,
So.
I think that's kind of why we all subconsciously just skipped it and kept.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about her screaming, so that was the scene.
But there's more screaming to come, Eric, because she has to go through the bugs as well.
She screams at every single animal in that camping scene, and it even ends on an owl. I'm like, why are you screaming at an owl?
Why would you scream at an owl?
Who
Are you a small mouse? Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Are you shot? Yeah.
It's not going to pick you up by your neck and eat you later. So they get trapped in this cool room where George Lucas loves creating stories where shit is closing on you in a room.
And then they get into another classic murder room, which every ancient society made murder rooms.
And she's like, Willie, turn off the garbage manual and the garbage compactor. He keeps saying it.
It is very garbage compactor here,
Yeah.
complete with spikes from the floor and the ceiling, which is really nice. And he has to like beg this woman to reach her hand into the box and take the fucking Lady Jessica test with the pain hand. Oh no, that's Dune. Excuse me. No, it's like you gotta pull the other lever there, and like Harrison Ford has to like stick his. It's kind of a funny shot. He's like sticking his face in this little square, but like Indiana Jones has to yell like, "We're going to die, please." I know bugs are terrible, but just deal with it.
I don't know, Indiana. Okay. Oh, it's living. Oh, ew. Oh, ew. Okay, here's the lever. Oh, there we go, Indy. Thank you, Elephant. Indiana.
And kind of funny gag here when she gets in there and then she sets it off immediately.
Does it again, which is pretty cool. But Shorty has the foresight to be like, that other door came down the last time. Let's run through. And they get it's a great grabs the hat at the last second.
Yeah.
I think like, depending upon how they decide to end this Dial of Destiny, maybe he's 6 feet under. I don't know. But if he doesn't, there should just be a postscript that's like, and Indy went on many adventures after that. And his last one was he died because he stuck his arm back through something that was closing to get his lucky hat and it killed him. Like we all say, like we worry Tom Cruise is going to die doing a stunt on set somewhere. That's what would happen to Indiana Jones. You went back for that hat one too many times and a huge rock fell on you.
I'm not worried about that, to be clear. I hope that happens to Tom Cruise because I think that's how he actually wants to go out.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that would make him the most happy.
Well, I've always thought that's he can't actually like actively leave Scientology because they got too much on him.
Yeah.
So that's why he keeps doing this, because he's like, hey, the bigger it gets, eventually I will kill myself and be with Shelley Miscavige in heaven.
That's right. You see, folks, we said it. Scientology's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
Just
So's
keep on.
so's all religion. I think the thuggies show us this.
They're very clear on the subject, Eric.
Interesting.
Just keep on
No,
trying to
whoa,
do
whoa,
all that
whoa.
shit that Jackie Chan was trying to do in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll die.
Yes. Ooh, these religions not so hot.
Maybe that's what. Maybe the Dial of Destiny, which is a smokescreen. We got to find L. Ron Hubbard's lost manuscript.
Dianetics, it's real. It's all true.
Boy, would my face be red.
Here's a prediction, Dial of Destiny, because this is going to be the last one, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be the last.
Well, it's got to be a Ford's for
Is it
sure.
going to end? Is he's going to now? This might not happen. Maybe egg on my face, but I did predict Fast X's ending. So he's going to use time travel. We're going to see a young Indy back in the prime of his life.
Yeah.
And that'll be the ending. He goes back in time and gets to live again.
Oh, it was sort of like a Steve Rogers situation.
Yeah.
Do it all over.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back in time and fucking Kill Willie Scott.
I'm going to spread syphilis even faster than I did before.
I'm gonna do what I should have always done. I'm gonna marry Marion when she was 16 and we were in love.
But then I had to kill my other self. It really complicated things.
So this is where we open up into the big cavern. This is the big Kalimash. This is not Kalimash Shakti Day. This is just Kalima, this first part here. I gotta tell you, as far as sacrifice scenes go, fellas, this is a hell of a sacrifice.
It's pretty good.
I mean, like as mustache twirly and like what do you call it there, hodgepodge in terms of accuracy. Amrish Puri is really good in this movie as Malaram.
He was another super successful
he's
Indian
like
actor.
450 movies or something like that.
Craziest thing about this dude's career though was like, big filmmaking industry in India starting in like the 40s-ish or so. Sometime in the 50s, like he was doing a studio audition and they were like, nah, you're never going to be an actor. And then he somehow, like he bombed some audition or whatever it was. And then he somehow found a way, like he got cast as a villain or something. And then he became like famous in India for playing villain after villain after villain. Huh. Pretty cool. He does it really great here.
He picks up the tone and what we're doing here, and he runs with it. This pulpy trash.
Mola Ram is his character's name.
And he's good, and this sacrifice is good. I like the heart rip. Obviously, left an impression on me as a child.
The death cage is a nice touch. I think they must have you must have really put money, and it's a smart thing to do. Put money into your death cage so it doesn't melt.
Yes,
because you're gonna have to replace it every time if that thing really melts in your lava. You have to put the money into the first one and make it a real death cage.
All right, so I'm installing your sacrifice here, your sacrifice altar, and we got the death cage here and the chains. We're going to install them up there to come down. Now you already figured it out, right? You got a literal portal to hell below there. That's all set up. Excellent.
That's a different guy. I don't do that.
Yeah, I can't do. I did that once. I got out of that game. There's no money in that.
I don't do plumbing,
but I'm gonna cut you a deal just in case as a backup. 4 extra torture cages. They're off on the side. Replace them. No extra charge. Although let me tell you, you're not gonna need them. But if you need them, there they are.
You paid for the platinum, or it's what you call triple platinum, which doesn't exist. But you had extras, so we made you some extra cages.
And who are you going to be sacrificing? Oh, Tim Burton looking guys. Got it. Okay, got it. This dude looks exactly like Tim Burton.
So I was hearing around here. You got something called Calamari Shakti Day. I love seafood.
We get some Kalima Shakti Day for the table, please.
My brother saw this movie in theater. So 84, he was like, he would have been 4 or 5 years old. My parents brought him. And this goes to the PG rating at this part of the scene when the heart gets ripped and he rips it out and he's holding it. It's still beating. He turns to my mother's like, you take a child to see this movie? Literally turned to her is like, you take a child to see this movie?
He had the heat that early? Damn.
Oh, yeah. He knew it was going on.
That's so funny.
And you know what? He was better for it, too. I think kids need to see some heart rips.
We need to see some heart rips. And then after the heart is ripped, that chest just heals itself back up. Ooh, fuck.
And he goes down into the pit. And I love the detail of the heart bursting into flames when the body hits the lava.
Yes. That's pretty cool.
I love the idea that, like, for a moment you forget that you're also going to be burned. Like you survive the heart ripping. You're like, whew, now getting oh, right, I'm burned alive.
Well, see, this guy, he was making a snake, and the guy asked for it medium rare, but he served it rare, so he didn't get sacrificed.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep. Oh, looks like it's the death pit for you. That was undercooked. And so this dude takes out these 3 stones, one of which is one of the ones that was stolen from the village, and I love. This dude pulls these stones out of this bag and the crowd goes wild. Like the crowd that's there for the sacrifice. Woo! Love a good audience for a public sacrifice.
Yes. Well, of course, those are the Saqqara stones, and you need those to play the game. If we're going to have a game here, we have to have all the Saqqara stones.
And he puts them into, it's like 2 eyeballs and a nose. It kind of looks like he's making a big scary jack-o'-lantern with these things. It's pretty nice.
Great Halloween decoration for sure.
Definitely.
Oh, yes. And then it's a weird, like, they watch the sacrifice happen and, like, The three of them are up there in the corner, like in the rafters, being horrified.
No post game, no Shaq and Chuck to talk about the sacrifice after. Like they go out on the court. Like I don't know, Molaram didn't really have it tonight. His numbers are low this season.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna get a best of 7 here, Chip, if he's pulling sacrifices like this each night.
Coming up after the sacrifice, Bug Dinner, new show.
Go Indian Kitchen Nightmare.
You know, usually you hear more screaming at these events, and it turns. And we were just all drowned out by some woman off by the side who just kept on screaming about nothing that we could really understand.
Welcome back to Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom Chopped. You have chicken, rice, and lettuce. How am I going to eat food out of this? There's no bugs, no snakes, nothing.
Can I get an eyeball? What
am I supposed to? Who's going to eat this?
Oh, secret ingredient: heartless corpse.
So it's weird because like they just wait for the arena to clear out, and then
it's one of those things like if you were ever like a little kid like sneaking out. You got to give it a 10 count, dude. You got to give your mom, she's going to get up and go to the bathroom real quick. You got to give it a nice solid 10 minutes.
I mean, they clear out of here so fast, though. It's like, when the Yankees are down by 9 and it's the end of the game and people are leaving to beat the traffic, like they get out before the heart explodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's back then. I mean, you're probably getting at least halfway through Rock and Roll Part 2 playing on the speakers above. Before you get out of there,
Kalima, hey, Shashakti Day, Kalima, hey.
The song has a complicated legacy.
Actually, the writer of this song is part of our tribe here. And,
oh God, Gary Jules, is that piece of shit?
Gary Glitter.
Gary Glitter. Anyway, so Indy goes down there. He's like, I'm going to get the 3 stones. Gets the 3 stones very easily. Unlike the last time he took an idol looking thing off of something, this works out much better. And then it's a weird I think I want to keep exploring this cave further for no reason. And he starts going, and they're like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. I wasn't interested in first, but I should have eaten more beetle. My stomach's really grumbling. I should have had more beetle, a little more eyeball, Mabel.
He's going down there for more beetle.
And yes, meanwhile, both Willie and Shortman get kidnapped by the Thuggy cult.
Yes, and he comes out, and this is where he spies all of the child slavery happening. And this is like
an impressive outfit, to be quite honest. I mean, like it's a lot of kids.
Yeah,
really
a lot of
pretty
kids.
Coordinated. You're working well into the night.
Yep.
And I looked it up. Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, a year after this.
Oh,
it was giving me those vibes. With
it does. It always
kids,
gives me those vibes when I watch this.
Yeah,
yes.
and Apple's offshore operations a couple years after that as well.
That's right. Yeah, these kids were breaking these rocks now because they were trying to find the last lost 2 sacred stones in it.
Yeah.
Those same kids now are breaking those rocks looking for all the fucking materials that go into our phones.
Yes, exactly
right.
See, it horrifies me to see them break rocks for precious jewels or whatever, but lithium and other things that are needed for my smartphone, I'm like, get fucking chopped.
Yeah, get those I need the dial on the iPod is only a little hand can take care of that and repair that.
But this is a real fucking wiener move by Indiana Jones. Like, he sees what's going on, and like rightfully you get a little upset about
he's very heated about it. Yeah.
But he just chucks a rock at this dude and then doesn't even have the decency to hide.
So dumb.
What the fuck are you doing?
Starting some shit.
And this is when it's one magical thing too much, and it's always bothered me. That I used to like this movie a lot. I used to. This used to be my favorite. I used to watch the beginning all the time when I went to bed.
Wow.
Well, you watch the good part.
Yes, I'd put this on and go to sleep.
I used to watch Return of the Jedi when I went to bed all the time, and I got through Jabba's palace and I'd fall asleep. So it was sort of similar.
Exactly. Like basically about the raft happens, I'm asleep. And I always forget this happens in this movie, and it's just evil
zombie blood drink.
Zombie blood drink Indiana Jones is just one thing too much.
It is because it's Evil Ash from Evil Dead 2 or something.
Because you're doing Raiders has happened. It's your second movie. This is your yes and. So yes, you can increase the magic, but not this much.
I always took this as because Otherwise, you kind of have to assume these guards are killing, like just
I guess
mowing down kids who revolt against.
Well,
doing
dude, where do you think they're getting the eyeballs for the soup,
Oh.
Chris?
Oh, really?
That's why it's so
that's where they
good.
source
I
it.
have a feeling we might be eating children.
It's veal of people.
It's true.
Kids,
might
the
be
veal
good.
of people.
Might be good.
The zombie thing doesn't really, it doesn't do it for me. I don't. And then of course you cure it by holding a torch next to someone, and then because
touching them with fire.
that
You
brings
got to burn
back-
the nipples. Yeah.
That brings back.
Oh, my tit. Thanks, Shorty.
That brings back Indiana Jones. That brings back the
Maharaja.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rehabilitate these goddamn poor people that were forced to drink blood. Fucking flame these guys up.
They
Maybe they'll.
specifically
They don't have a soul.
Yes, they specifically do not flame the prime minister who gets really ganked by that ladder thing or what.
Right, the
Oh,
lever.
when the steering wheel
Yes.
falls
Yeah,
on
yeah.
him? Yeah, that
that's-
dude, your rib cage is getting crushed.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
pretty
little
good.
guy too.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the question though. How, and they don't really explain it. I don't think, unless I missed something, but like how much of this is like these are just the baddies that are part of the gang?
yeah.
Mm.
No, well,
Or
there's
have
an
they been-
There's a brief line that it's like they make you. Then you'll be like them, and you will be living in an unwaking nightmare.
Yes.
So presumably, all these people were forced to become
Got it.
foot soldiers. I mean, maybe there's some true
real heads out
believers.
there.
Yeah,
The black sleep. It's these two kids in the cage with
Right, with
a
Shorty.
short round, and they are like, it's a waking nightmare. You drink the blood. You go into the black sleep, which to me it sounds like you turn into a zombie. You have no soul anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. Like you get at the end. Your spoiler: the fucking kids all are brought back to the, and you're just like, they're all gone. Like what are you going to do? Like,
Well, they're going to set up. Here's the thing. It's like you're going to get a little torch to your tit, and then you're going to get a bath, and you're going to get a meal, and then you're going to bed.
just little matchsticks. There's like,
Yeah, that's
that
all
just
you
bring
need.
them back. There we go.
I think I may have read that there was an earlier draft that really did more zombie stuff than we have here that survived.
Like capital Z zombie monster stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes
Well,
sense.
I'm glad that was chopped. At least something was chopped.
But like, because it's one thing too many. Like, there's a way in which this second and a half act can go where Indy doesn't have to turn into an evil guy. Although it gets that shirt off. To be fair, the shirt does come off.
It's pretty
coulda-
nice. Pretty nice.
Could have done it of his own agency. I don't know. Like it's just because
But is it hotter that he was coerced?
I maybe to a certain faction, but like to me, it's just ridiculous because I'm like, of course Indiana Jones isn't going to be evil for the rest of the like. This is just wasting time.
Well, the
It
problem
did
is
waste
you
time, yeah.
you so like don't want to believe how ridiculous it is that you spend, at least I kind of did. I remember the first time watching it being like, well, he's faking it the whole time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't,
possibly.
but it's not though.
No,
Like, this
it's
movie
not,
tells you that drink works and does this to you, which is a fridge too far,
It
one
just
might
is.
say.
Yeah.
Do you think
get-
once he drinks from the Holy Grail in the next movie, it kind of like, oh, it gets that collie shit out of my body?
Oh my God, I took a real rockin' shit. All the collie blood juice finally came out of my
I can
colon.
enter the kingdom of heaven after this.
God, I'm gonna have to get some diner food and a Domino's pizza to soak up all the Kali Ma shit.
I gotta say, when he has to drink the blood juice or whatever, they put him in that like nice this like Madonna sexy bedroom with all the candles all over it.
Yep.
And he starts being like, oh fuck, it's a dark, it's like that's me on tour when I eat too late and then I try and go to sleep and it's like 4:00 in the morning. Why the fuck did you have McDonald's?
Oh, absolutely,
knocking
dude.
candles over,
Totally.
retching.
Me just fucking vomiting into a paper Taco Bell bag.
Yeah, it wasn't a blood cocktail he was being fed. It was a milkshake and most of a Happy Meal.
They made me eat the toy.
It was the penguin, and he was in a little car.
Oh man, yeah. So this is where it's explained in sort of the vaguest, like more power kind of way when Ram is like, yes, and if we collect all these 5 stones, 2 of which were thrown down in those mines, and that's what the kids are doing, by the way. Once we have all 5 together, we will have the power, and all of the religions will fall, and the Jewish God will fall out of the sky, and the Hindus will collapse, and the Christian God will be thrown into obscurity, and the thuggies will rule the day for what and for why.
Oh wait, hold on. I don't hear digging out there.
You know, you try to explain your evil plot and they think it's break time.
I mean, they're supposed to have no souls. You know what a no soul individual would do? Keep working.
Yeah.
And this is where you see the Maharaja's got this pseudo voodoo doll thing, and he's like burning Indy's face with it and parts him. And you're just like,
It's
this
just
is
dumb.
speaking of
Voodoo dolls,
fridges too far.
It's just so stupid. Like, there's so much going on at this part where you're like, can we just end the movie? Like,
And it's
honestly,
like just-
I've forgotten why I like this movie at this point.
And,
Yeah.
and like to your point, just pick a magic and stick with it.
Yeah.
That's was the strength of 3 and 1. you know?
Yeah.
That one big magical moment is fine.
And that's it.
fine.
Yeah. So they bring out Willie right here. Willie is going to be the next one to take the death plunge to hell. And it's a great, like, we're going to make Indiana do it and everything. And, you know, she more screaming here. Thank goodness. It's been so many minutes since I heard screaming.
Well, this is the woman who screamed wolf. Like at this point, I'm like, you were screaming out bugs. I'm not going to think this lava pit is so bad down there. I think this is fine.
Oh, I think she's just saying hello to us, Short Round.
That's her custom, you see. But the short round does get put in the minds really and quickly. It's just like, fuck this, it leaves.
They are putting this kid to work so fast, and I love that they allow him to keep the baseball hat on.
Sure,
while
yeah.
it is great. Like the dude is he actually is doing like I don't hear digging like with him, and it's like Ke Huy Quan like, oh sorry, and he's just like clink clink, like taking this little pickaxe and gently pretending that he's doing anything. But he escapes around here. Cool little moment here of him doing his own, you know, like Indiana Jones cunning kind of escape stuff. He climbs up this ladder. This dude follows him up it, and then he jumps and pushes the ladder over to get to a rope, and he escapes, and he pops up right on the sacrifice platform.
Wouldn't you know it?
Yeah. And this is kind of great. It's just, you know, Shorty trying to do his best to get Indy to snap out of it. And like, you know, Key's doing a lot of great stuff here with just the delivery of like, Indy, I love you. You're my best friend. Come on, it's me. You know, really great. And he finally just singes that nipple, man. And Ford wakes up after a pretty brutal backhand to this kid.
Love it. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
It was a
love it.
Steve,
great moment.
Steve, please, you gotta let me have one. Just 5 across the eyes for this little guy. Just once,
No,
please.
he wasn't even. It wasn't even Collie telling him to do it. It was just 1935. And once a kid runs up to you, that's sort of what you did.
Come on,
You don't
Steve.
do that to adults. You don't run up on us.
Oh my God, bring it back.
But yeah, so this is, I'm all right, kid. It's me. And he winks at him.
Yeah.
And then we break into a little Indiana Jones fight here. The two of them both kicking ass all over. Indy definitely does like a suplexes a dude right off the cliff.
He throws 2 to 3 people into the bowels of hell, dude. These guys, you want to see it? Here it is.
It's pretty awesome. But Mola Ram, there's a weird like. This was actually very Bond to me.
Oh, this
Mola Ram's like laying on the ground, like, oh no, and like Indy goes to get him. He's like, ha ha, and just the trap door flips open. I was
Yes,
like,
he
is
starts
Blofeld
laughing.
escaping? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, very true.
And this is when the prime minister gets his fucking ribs shattered.
Oh yeah, just the thing that they are turning to lower the death crate into the lava pit or whatever falls on this guy. Like Indy basically throws him under it to prevent it from falling so he can get Willie back up.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. And she's freaking out. And it's like, no, Willie, I'm fine. A short round burned my nuts. It's okay. It's me again.
You know, I mean, you must have taken a half a second to be like, maybe we just let her and just be like, oh, it was a second too late.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's get out of here, Shorty.
Shucks.
Now, Shorty, I want you to take this here. Just start burning the children down there. That's how you're going to wake them up. I want you to burn all the children.
Well, looks like Willie fell in the pit to hell. Shorty, this is a great lesson I'll teach you right now. Learn the expression, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But she's saved. And they get out of there. And we're going to go back. We got to free all the kids. And we're trying to do that. And then like all the dudes run down. We get another big Indiana Jones fight here.
This is the big Indiana Jones fight with him and the other Pat Roach yet again. Now in brown face.
God damn, that sucks.
This
And the thing
death
that
might
sucks
be
is,
the
like,
worst one though. I think this versus getting your face impaled by a motor. I think
right,
he gets
right.
like squeezed.
Oh,
like
Because
legs
he
first.
gets like steamrollered in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, on the
legs
conveyor
first.
belt.
You're referencing
Yeah.
in Raiders when he gets thrown into the propeller of the airplane.
Yes.
He
I
was
feel
also
like-
the guy with the sword that got shot, right? So he also kind of did brownface before.
Is he the same guy?
Maybe. I'll double check.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could be
I mean,
right. I never knew that. I
in
knew him
both-
as propeller guy.
In both cases, your funeral's going to be a brown bag.
Yeah,
It's not. You're not getting. I'm sorry. This is not
I-
going to be.
I think you are right, Steve, that this is the worst death to have because that propeller, he's dead instantly.
Yes.
This is like, I know I'm dying. I'm
Yes.
aware of my own death.
Like, oh, there go my legs. There goes my balls. There
Yep.
goes my stomach.
And like, we are definitely doing a lot of squoosh squash sound effects here. I mean, like, you don't get like, because in Raiders, he pops and you see like
The
blood
blood splash,
splatter on
yeah.
the plane. There's no pops or like blood waves here.
Just a schmear. You just get the
Yeah.
schmear afterwards.
Oh yeah, it is on the Rolly thing.
Okay,
get
no,
thrown
he
in.
played one of the guys that came in with the Gestapo in Nepal at the start.
Okay.
He played
Got
Big
it.
Sherpa.
oh
a
my
giant
god!
Sherpa.
Oh my god! I thought I had a flat ass before.
Now I can fit in the size 32 jeans.
But yeah, this is all great. This whole we're trying to, I love when they free all the kids and like the kids run over all the guards. And there's one dude that gets taken down by a gaggle of kids, almost reminiscent of the dude getting taken down by the fire ants in Crystal Skull.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all these kids swarm this guy and he falls down to the ground like, no! And I was like, are they eating him?
Some of these guards are getting Gaddafi'd for sure.
Oh,
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
Yep.
Absolutely. You fuck
Yep.
with that many
for sure.
kids and now they're free.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're having some fun with those guards.
Playing soccer with your head in about 15 fucking minutes. Get it, dude.
And then we get the really awesome, I mean, say what you want about this movie, but the minecart sequence, I think is great. It's
It
so
is-
much
it
fun.
is great.
Still a lot of
There's-
fun.
There's so much going on with it. So much craft involved. The rear projection throughout it is really cool. Very harkens back. And the sound design, everything about it is really well done.
I'm surprised they were able to jump over the bumblebee with spikes the first time. Because usually that takes a couple of tries for me.
And not only did they do that, dude, they captured the O letter on top the first try, which is really nuts. They were on their way to spelling out Kong.
Gotta get the extra life there, Shorty.
I mean, it is impossible for me anyway to play Donkey Kong Country and not think of this movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
And vice versa, frankly.
But-
Yeah.
No, but in this movie really needs this though at this point because again, like I've been bored for a little while. I mean, like some of the fighting's good, but like
It's all been racism and lava. Like I can't.
Yes.
You gotta give me something.
There's an interesting thing that they sort of, I think, reference in Crystal Skull again, where they wind up getting on different tracks and they're riding side by side to one another, and the guys try to steal Shorty out of the minecart, and Shorty's stuck between the two, which is sort of what happens to Mutt when they're racing, and he's when he's doing the. If it wasn't like CGI'd to hell, the race and he's sword fighting Cate Blanchett on the two trucks is kind of something, but it's just CGI garbage.
That's the problem for me. Is like this at least has the handcrafted feel to it.
So much
Exactly,
handcrafted shit though. There's definitely there's one part where they try to have this kind of like wide shot to show Short Round balancing between the two carts, and they cut to like stop motion figurines. It's a split second shot, but the little figure that they use for Short Round looks like something out of a Tool video or like a Tim Burton nightmare. It's just this like Slender Man looking piece of clay. It's a really weird shot that got left in. And you're like, whoa, that's weird. But all of it's great. I love every time the dudes, the bad guys in the cart hit something on the track and they go flying, including a dude that falls onto the tracks, gets hit by a cart, and everybody goes over. That's it.
And
getting killed.
Willie Scott pushed that guy over. So
It's kind of the
pretty
one time
nice.
she participates in saving the day. Yeah, exactly.
In murder.
And meanwhile, back up, Ram is like, well, all right, got to flush these fuckers out. And he makes what guards are left standing knock down this big water tower. So all the water's flooding the tunnel, which is really great. There's a dumb thing, and it's like, it's kind of whatever, but like, they're like, oh, here comes the water. We're running. And then there's like a side hallway, and they're like, ooh, let's get in here. And instead of like going through and continuing to run because water would fall into there. They're like, phew, the water went that way, but we drove that way. And I was like, that's a Looney Tune thing.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Although when they do get to that opening and they start crawling out onto the ledge, they do what water would do is it's going to erode the whole fucking
Which is
thing.
kind of cool. I always misremember this because, like, why not? We fall off mountains all the time in these movies.
Yeah.
I always misremember it as they get like shot out into the river. But yeah, it is kind of cool. It's like, oh, it's all turning to mud. Oh, weird. But there's a bad. Because like whatever. It's I get plot hole error, but like Indy yells to Short Round and Willie like, meet me at the bridge, and I just be like, we don't know where the fuck we are. What bridge? How do you know there's a bridge?
Honk honk plot hole.
Meet me in Montauk.
But yeah, so they sort of get out. I need a bunch of dudes shooting out of this water hole, dude.
Yeah, I'd like
That'd be
some
cool.
more murder.
Nice,
I mean, there's plenty coming because these gators get fed pretty well.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's fucking Gator Thanksgiving.
What I noticed, what I read about, I was like, I always thought the shots of those gators eating those guys felt a little cheap. You know, it's like they're rolling around with robes and there's nothing really to it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a B unit shot that they did way after they filmed the movie, filmed in Florida, real quick, cheap with alligators, and it feels cheap. I want a little more gator action.
Yeah, you got that Spielberg coming here tomorrow, shoot some Indian movie, I guess.
Spiel what?
I'll let him use my gators. She's gonna pay me for them gators.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna let them use my water glasses though.
Oh, the bird. Well, thankfully they sent someone else to do it. So
Oh, right, the
yeah.
B unit shit. All right, how about this though, dude? At least it's like real footage of animals.
That's true. That's
you
true.
know?
I just hate that it's just this one shot and we're seemingly repeating it constantly.
It kind of feels like it's, now we'll flip it.
It's like, like the Ed Wood like stock footage
Yes.
we're just using over and over
Yes.
again.
Totally.
Wrap the raw ribs in the robe again. Throw it back in.
For what
Molly.
it's worth, these gators look like they're having a ball
They are,
flopping
but
around with the robes.
The henchmen get deaths here that are exactly the same as our main villain, and I wanted that main villain to have a little more of a death. We do see his fall, which is awesome.
Well, the thing is, he gets on the bridge, and it's a great sequence in terms of like Indiana Jones being like, we're all going to hell tonight.
Yeah,
Sure.
Everyone should see this coming because he's got the sword over the thing.
He's fucking crazy. He's gonna do it.
And then when Malaram's like, all right, everybody on the bridge, come on, everybody. Like, no, Malaram, you stay on that side. You to me, bring the rock to me.
To your point is that when I was watching this today, I was just like, oh, he's putting them on the bridge because he knows he's going to do that. Hey, don't cut the bridge because your lady and kid are on the bridge now.
Okay.
I thought it was that measure. But then when he starts cutting the bridge and Balaram is just like, what?
It's like, what are you talking about? You've been watching. He's been like, 1, 2.
Exactly.
It is a real. What did you think was going to happen, Malarama? It's kind of crazy.
Also, one good thing where Malarama calls his bluff there is just like, oh, I'm going to drop the stones. It's like, yeah, who cares? They'll fall in the water and we'll get them.
Yeah.
Hey, Shorty, you've made your peace with God, right? Because we're going there.
Willie, shut up. Here it comes.
Did you guys notice just real quick at the start of this when Indy like gets to the bridge himself, they do a really lame Raiders joke.
With the
where
two guys.
the two guys have swords and it's like ha ha, and then he reaches for the gun to shoot. Like you can't parody the "I gotta take a shit" moment. Like, come on, it's just dumb.
It's trying to remind you to watch an Indiana fucking Jones movie.
That's true. But yeah, this bridge sequence is
Prepare
fucking cool.
to meet Kali
Yes.
in hell.
He says something to Shorty in Mandarin,
Yes, which is like, hey, I'm about to fucking do this shit, man.
which is it's basically him not in English saying like, "Hey, Shorty, remember Nicaragua?
Yes.
Yeah. When we fell off that other rope bridge or whatever." So yeah, I love this. All these dudes fall in the water, and then this is just the last big part here is just
all these
the
alligators
grab
that are
ass.
apparently all named Robert E. Lee are eating up these dudes.
We had to go back and digitally remove all of the Confederate flag tattoos that they gave those gators.
It's tasteless. Just tasteless to have them out like that.
Yeah. Alligators, 4 crocodiles. Is that okay?
What?
Is that all right?
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, all right.
It's not as bad.
They're not
as,
the same though, right? They're not exactly
there
the
is a
same.
difference.
Exactly.
There's a
the same.
difference.
No, they're not.
They're
You
not
know
just
what?
geography.
I'm gonna say we should let it slide.
All right.
That's
right.
my
you know what,
opinion.
maybe
I don't know.
the bug dinner was slightly worse. So
It was
Here's
a
the
little
thing.
worse.
Here's the thing. If we are incapable, which I know all four of us are, of explaining what the difference is between the
No.
two animals, we should let it
I
slide.
couldn't even tell you. You know, I couldn't even. I just read that today and I was offended.
There's a weird thing actually right before he cuts the bridge. Sorry to keep backing up here, but right before he cuts the bridge, when he realizes what's happening, the dudes are coming around on both sides. Indiana Jones, and I don't know if it's because it's 1984, we're making this movie or what. He's holding up this fucking sword and he just goes, "Ah, shit!"
Yeah.
And I was like, does he say shit in the other movies? I don't think he does.
No, I don't.
I think this is
so.
the single instance of Indy using profanity.
It's fun.
Well, when he's about to spit in God's face, I think it's
Well,
okay.
yeah. I
He
mean,
spits in God's face in every movie.
He
No,
says
that's- he
Jesus
should say it in
Christ a
every
lot. He
that's-
blasphemer. Blasphemer?
Blaspheme.
Blaspheme.
You can't be blaspheming.
Blasphemy, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so whatever. Ramamal falls
Yes.
in spectacular fashion. I love this effect shot.
Him
The
hitting
camera's
every wall all the way
plummeting
down,
with him.
yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
definitely we are scraping that bald head on a rock.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, God, it's so awesome. And then he climbs up and, yep, here's the boys in blue come in and save the day.
The great British Empire
Oh,
pacifying those
Blumpkin
disgusting.
returns.
Yeah.
See, would it not make sense that dude is there? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
he's
there.
Oh, is he?
He's
Yeah,
100%
yeah,
there.
I completely missed
Yeah,
him this time around.
It's fine. I mean, it doesn't because it's like, and finally the colonizers have saved us all.
Sure. Yeah. Indiana Jones should throw that guy off the cliff for good measure.
Yeah. Hey, I'm supposed to be the only great white savior in this picture.
Hey, Colonel Blumpkin, you want to see something funny? I'll go look down here. Wah!
Hello, soldiers. Yes, kill the bad ones. Go ahead. Just do it for me, your
Yes.
master.
You know, the ones that look like you understand?
Just another day in the empire, isn't it?
It sure is. Oh, we got to get this gold back to the UK to get some more crowns for the king.
Oh, I heard all those people eat bugs and monkey brains. Can't wait to eat some steamed porridge when I get out.
It's still somehow better than British food. Huh?
Yeah, so we go back to the village and we bring all the children back. The day is saved. This, the dude from up top is like, we had a good vibe that you were coming back. We already knew. We're, excited and everything. And this is where it gets the most not Indiana Jones. And because this is like a prequel, I wonder what the turning point was here, because this is where he's like, Billy says something about like, what about all your fame and glory or whatever, you should have, I thought you were going to take that back. And he goes, well, I was just going to wind up collecting dust in a museum. And I was like, but that's your whole that's what you do.
It's your life.
Yeah,
That's literally what your life
You know what I
is.
mean? That's what you're doing.
Doesn't really make sense.
So I don't understand like whatever that turn. He's like, oh man, oh wait, oh my God, Marcus, how much could I got for that stone? All right, that's the last time I leave something in a village.
Well, I mean, I could put it in my amazing house that I never go to. Maybe it could collect just there.
And yeah, they start making out, and all the kids from the village come up and thank him. And
Can we join in? Can we join in?
this looks like fun.
I'd be asking that, seeing them. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's kind of great. Shorty's like, no more adventures with you, Dr. Jones. I was like, yeah, you should retire, kid.
Yeah.
Try going to school. How about that? Let's go back. You can go to school. Maybe you get a free ride at the university.
That'd be fun.
You can go to thievery school, but it has to be a school.
And that is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. We'll go around the horn here. Final thoughts and recommendations, Mr. Siska?
Yes, it's a light recommend for me. I mean, it's still more Indiana Jones, which is fun. It's better than Crystal Skull. There's a lot of problems. Obviously, it's overtly racist in many parts. It's got a lot of problems, but it's got some good set pieces and some well-crafted scenes. So it's a light recommend.
Christopher Cabin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you haven't seen it before, sure, you got to see it. It isn't really necessarily like I don't think they reference it a lot in either of the other two that happen after this. We'll see with Destiny.
No, I don't think.
Oh man, the return of Willie Scott.
Yeah, maybe. But
Return of Blumpkin.
yes,
Is that guy still alive?
No, he's got to be.
he's
CGI,
got to be
dude.
long dead. He's got to be
CGI.
dead by now. Maybe Mutt killed him. I just every time I watch this movie, I immediately forget it. Like Steve said about like as a child, this one just immediately always like completely lost. Where Raiders, I literally can still like almost line for line go through that movie.
Yeah.
Almost same with Last Crusade. I just find all this kind of like not that interesting. Like it's well crafted because it's Spielberg, but I don't find any of it particularly engaging. Like I give the first scene and the car thing, but I'm like, that's bare minimum for this guy.
Yeah.
If again, like if you're a completist and stuff, see it. You don't have to see it necessarily.
Yeah, we'll have Steve close down the shop, but I'll just say I'm not going to pretend like this is the last time I'll ever watch this movie. Like I know I'm going to watch it repeatedly, but it is the one that I go back to least. Well, no, Crystal Skull is of the original three.
Yeah, sure.
This is the one I go back to the least. Even in spite of all the dicey shit which is there, and I mean, hey, engage with problematic art, folks. That's how conversations happen, but. Even on top of that, it is a bad script. The structure of the story kind of sucks. The fact that like once we literally go into these caves, you don't leave them until we're shooting water out the side of a mountain. It's a long time to be underground. I just don't think any of that feels right. It doesn't feel like these pseudo world hopping adventures that Indiana Jones has in other stories. So just on like a technical level and like a writing level, not that great. Craft wise, yeah, of course it's great. And it does have a lot of really fantastic moments in it. And Ke Huy Quan, great performance. Indiana Jones, great performance. The only two great performances in the movie, really, from the main cast, our main trio there, I'll say. But yeah, it's the lightest of recommends, especially if you haven't seen it. I mean, you gotta be completist about everything. But yeah, that's me, Steve Zadak.
Yeah, I have nostalgic feelings for it, but it's really for the beginning. It was funny, like literally after that raft, once that raft goes out that boat, out that plane, I'm like, oh, and now the rest of it's gonna happen, and the rest of it does happen,
Yeah.
and like. Yeah, Ke Huy Quan's great. He's a great find, and obviously that's kind of cool. Like his whole story with everything everywhere is really great. And then Harrison Ford giving him the award, the whole thing. It's a really sweet story. He's a really sweet guy, and it's a really cool thing. And he's great in this movie. And like, it just ages like really poorly. I think it aged poorly the second it was made. Like where Lawrence Kasdan saw the writing on the wall. I was like, no fucking thanks,
it aged
dude.
poorly before it was made.
Dude, it aged like chilled monkey brain, to be honest with you.
It's just not. I mean, like it's the lightest of recommends if you're an indie head. It is, and as of this recording, the third best Indiana Jones movie ever made. So we'll see where that goes.
Which brings me to a quick final thought because, I guess especially with Eric, we've been good about guessing things that happen in movies. And I just want to put that out there before we see Dial of Destiny. Do we think, and how much of a detailed explanation they're going to give for the lack of Mutt Williams in this movie?
Oh, I bet
we
they
mentioned it at all.
Maybe not, honestly. I think there's going to be a mention of he got divorced from Karen Allen and he's living in an apartment or something. I think I read that. No, I'm serious.
Oh, okay.
Got into a barroom brawl and was stabbed to death.
He was murdered in the street.
Or got shot in the head in Korea. Or something.
just all these things. Bad things happen to all kinds of people in the middle of the day.
He finally heard his own name said back to him, and he killed himself.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm named what? Oh, I'm going to murder myself right away.
There's all kinds of ways you can get rid of the kid.
I would just love a Fleabag turns to him and goes, "How's Mutt doing?" And he goes, "Who?" And that's the end of that because someone fires a gun.
I don't have a dog.
That is going to do it for this episode on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. If you'd like more We Hate Movies, including an additional discussion on an Indiana Jones movie, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/WeHateMovies.
Which not only has our brand new Last Crusade episode, but we also did Raiders of the Lost Ark like 1 or 2 years ago.
Yes.
So that is also available for you on there.
Both great episodes, both worth your time.
And we've got a brand new syncable commentary coming out this month. If you're going Spider-Man crazy, we're doing Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's right.
It'll be my second time going through that movie.
Same. It'll be an interesting reevaluation.
Yes.
I think you were very sour on it.
I was half and half. It's one of my, especially for that phase of the Marvel universe, it might be one of my favorites. But
it'll be
a low bar.
It'll be a fun thing to watch along with us. We'll talk about Defoe.
Oh, Defoe's all over it, baby. And that's the other thing with the commentaries, man. It's not like a H or an L. It's just hanging out watching a movie.
We're just chilling out together.
Speaking of chilling out, we got an animation damnation on Beast Wars. Is that right?
Yeah, it's on the Beast. We're to tie in with our episode last week on Rise of the Beasts, or a couple weeks ago on Rise of the Beasts. We did even more Transformer Beast content just for Chris Cabin because he loves it so much.
I love that shit.
Speaking of beasts on the Gleep glossary, Boss Nass, the big, that's right,
that motorboat and son of a bitch,
big fat green Gungan. You're gonna want to tune in.
Coming up after the game, big fat green Gungan. Gonna want to tune into that.
And the latest Disney Plus streaming.
Yes.
But also, speaking of monsters, Dr. Beck is back on Once in a Lifetime. We are talking once again about a Stalked by My Doctor film. This one is him crossing over into another Lifetime timeline.
Yep. Just one more.
Sleepwalker's Nightmare.
And then Melrose 2-0, of course, back. We've got a good Jim Walsh episode going on this week.
Oh, yeah.
And
season 2
Blues.
finale.
Yes, Wedding Bell Blues. Quite the listen.
And I just realized between the commentary and Once in a Lifetime, it's the month for multiverse stuff here on
That's true.
And the main feed here, of course, the show continues next week. The summer blockbuster extravaganza, which I didn't say up top, but this is a part of as well, continues, Steve, with a conversation on what motion picture?
Get your lasagna out, folks. We're going to be a bunch of fat, lazy cats. We're talking the Garfield movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the first one, which is from I don't even know what year.
2000 something.
Yes.
2000 doesn't matter.
Back when you could have Breckenmeyer in a movie.
2004. And because that cat's too fucking fatted for one podcast to talk about, we're going to bring our friends from Talking Simpsons, Bob Mackey and Henry Gilbert on.
Oh, yeah.
A big old fat 6-man cast coming your way next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that a treat?
Now, this is, of course, the Bill Murray voiced Breckenmeyer and Jennifer Love Hewitt starring
in
motion
there as well,
pictures.
yes.
Indeed.
So until next week, where we're stuffing our faces full of yummy lasagna, I've been Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
Take it easy.